Yes, welcome everybody. It's great to be back. Welcome back to the Spacebook channel, the best channel that you'd never heard of. Welcome back to Type 40 Live with me, Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, here again for another live stream just for you. Doctor Who talk with Type 40 Live. God, it's great to be back. I've had a hell of a week. Been bitten by the bug. Not the pating. Thankfully, I have been bitten by quite a nasty flu bug, so I've been out of the loop a little bit all week. So I'm looking to you guys and to them to fill me in on what I may have missed out there in the Whooniverse. So whatever time stream or time zone that you're joining us from, welcome back to the big season finale for Type 40 Live. This is our third season in a year. We're just coming up to our first anniversary since Type 40 Live sprang out of the body of Type Over 40 here on YouTube, the world's largest streaming platform. We're delighted to be streaming to you again this evening for another couple of hours of concentrated Doctor Who talk for all of you, whoever you are and wherever you are. Fasten in and let us know what's going on in the comments section, whether you're here on YouTube with us tonight, now, or in the morning if you're in Australia, or if you're over in Facebook, in the Type 40 Facebook group, because we're there too, streaming live as always. Let us know what's going on, where and why, and all the usual. Great to have you back. Now, we've got a full panel to bring on, so I think I'll bring a couple of them in right away. First of all, she's back. It's been a while since we've had her on a live stream, and let's grab her while she's still here. It's starry-eyed girl, Sarah Graham. There she is.
Hello everybody.
Good to see you, Sarah. You're okay?
I'm good, yeah. Good to see you. You've had us all worried.
What? Oh, you know me.
Oh, dear.
I had to take to my bed.
You never get ill.
I don't. I'm very, very rarely ill, so it did throw me off a little bit. But I'm back in time for this big live stream, the end of another season, and we're going to. We've got a few things to bring out the pack for you all, but we're going to be led pretty much by whatever we fancy, really. So we'll see what happens. But we've just dropped another podcast, haven't we, Sarah?
We have indeed, yeah.
So we've just put out a new podcast. That's the pair of us and Simon Horton talking about the Christopher Eccleston era and that original comeback, and then the comeback of Christopher Eccleston back in when the audio range was announced. So this is what you can find on every podcatcher right now, as well as here on the Spacebook YouTube channel too. But that was a lot of fun to record, wasn't it, Sarah?
It was a lot of fun, yes. It was definitely my happy place. We were all warm and fuzzy.
And he was there too, and he's with us again tonight. Our good friend Simon Horton. You okay, mate?
Good to see you. It's nice to be back. Lovely to see you again, Sarah.
Yeah, lovely to see you.
It's great. Yeah, it's good.
Your hair's still not blue.
And do you know what? It's still not blue. I'm kind of thinking maybe I'll do it in the mid-season break. I don't know. I'm still. I'm quite liking it blonde. I'm quite liking it blonde now.
It does look good blonde.
It does look very good, but I'll never let you forget about the blue hair. Doctor Who fans are a bit.
I'm not saying it won't happen. Stay tuned. It might still happen. It could
Doctor
still
Who
happen.
fans are a lot like elephants. They never forget, and apparently neither do giraffes. And we've got giraffe people here with us again this time. Barnaby J goes back too. Hi.
Hello.
You okay?
Yeah,
Hi,
doing well,
Barnaby.
thanks. Oh, the whole gang's here today. It's been so good.
It's like Scooby-Doo, isn't it?
It is. It's so good.
We've barely started, everybody. Yes, let's bring in Queen Charlotte and
Yeah.
Jack as well.
Good evening.
The gang's all here.
Hello, everybody.
It's like Blankety Blank or Celebrity Squares, isn't it?
We're missing one.
Yeah, we are missing one.
Yes, we're missing Thelma.
We're missing one big old mega geek. Where is he? Here he is. Hey!
You're the worst people ever, all of you. Seriously.
Ian, you think we're bad? Get a load of them. We've got a load of people turned up in the chat.
Have we? Oh dear.
It's seriously though. It is great to see you all. We have who's here first? We've got Richard Brooks. Well, they've all started.
Hi, Richard.
I do like this. We've got Jonathan.
This could be like the Waltons now, where we say hello to everybody. It could go on for quite a while. Hi, Jonathan.
We'll say hello to everybody, and then we'll say goodbye to everybody, and that'll make
Exactly. Good night.
Let's just do a Mexican wave.
Hey. Evening all, says Wendy.
Hi, Wendy. Oh,
Hello,
look.
Wendy.
Smell your faces. I'll explain later. Sends us
Yes.
greetings. That's a new. I
Greetings.
don't remember. I'll explain
Ooh.
later. That's a new one.
Greetings.
Neat trick.
Lots of new
Neat
people.
trick.
And
Isn't
same
it
with
lovely
this
to
one.
see all the Spacebookers here? It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
really
Dan,
good to
Dan, we've
see
also
you.
got to mention. I really want to mention. I want to mention Dan Cartwright, who's just appeared in the chat as well. Hello, Dan. He's an old lunatic from way.
Hello.
Oh, wonderful.
Oh, hello,
Hi,
Daniel.
This
How you
is
doing?
this is his first time watching. So hello, Dan.
Good evening.
Ooh, hi,
Good to
Dan.
have you
First
here.
time watching the show.
Like a
Did you warn
virgin. What?
Did
What?
you warn him in
Yeah.
advance what we can be like?
It's all right. I know he's doing the housework at the moment, so I said just put us on in the background, and you just. You
Oh, he's
zone us
well
out.
trained. He's well trained, that one. Is he married? Is he available? Because I need a housekeeper, I can tell you. God,
I'll have
yes,
a word.
send them over.
I'll have a
First
I'll put
class,
it in the
please.
word.
We have a hello, everyone, from the good lady Vanessa.
Oh,
Logan.
hello,
Vanessa.
Hello.
Always great to see you. Wouldn't have been the same without you. We've got another Daniel. We've got Daniel Edwards, who says evening all too. There's lots of evening alls.
Evening all.
Everybody turns into Dixon of Dock Green when they come on this show, don't they?
Even the ones that didn't know him, like Barnaby. Yes.
Actually,
Hi
I
to
don't know what
everyone.
you're talking about.
Hi to Alan.
No.
So whilst I'm
Hi, Alan.
going
Hi.
to the chat, and whilst I remember, because I said I'd probably forget this, Simon, there was a couple of questions put to us from the great
Yes.
viewing public out there
Yes.
last week. A couple of questions. You
Yes.
have the answers.
Yes.
Remind me of the questions, because I've been to bed and got up a few times since then, and then hit us with the answers. Give them the good stuff.
I have the answers, yeah. So we were asked, first of all, by Crimpling Doubloon. Hello, Crimpling. You asked about whether Michael Hordern had possibly been considered to be cast as the second Doctor when William Hartnell dropped out. And this is an interesting one. I've done a lot of research into this, and the only place I can find any mention of it whatsoever is on that tome of all thoroughly accurate knowledge, and that'll be Wikipedia. So...
Oh.
Take that with a pinch of salt as to whether you believe it or not. So it is definitely on Wikipedia. He's registered on Wikipedia as having been considered for the role of the second Doctor. I'm not certain whether I believe that. I'm going to do a little bit more research into that.
I thought it was the third with Barry. Because Barry liked Michael, didn't he? And he knew him. And he was on probably the whole usual who's around list.
Could be. He's definitely listed on Wikipedia as the second Doctor consideration. Right. But, as I say, Wikipedia, not that we're knocking Wikipedia, I love Wikipedia. We all rely on Wikipedia, but we know that it can be. It's not always the most accurate. But the second question we were asked, which I do have an absolute correct and definitive answer for, and this was asked by Alan Collins. And Alan, hello, Alan, we've already said hello. You asked about what and I think, JT, you probably could have answered this question had you been here last week. Yeah. Alan wanted to know what the very, very first piece of Doctor Who merchandise ever was to be released. Would you know that, JT?
The Dalek book, 1964 Souvenir Press.
Correct.
Oh my God, have you got one?
You're correct, you're spot on. That is, Alan, JT was correct. That is the very, very first item.
Oh my God, look at the beauty on that.
I know,
Beautiful, look at that
It's
artwork.
not bad condition, that, is it? Look at that. Look at the white spines.
Where the hell did you get that? I am so jealous.
Look at
Look at that.
Are you jealous, JT? You see, you're loving this, aren't you? Look at that. Look
I
at
love that. It's absolutely beautiful. I've never actually seen inside it.
Now you have.
And this was released. I love this one because, of course, you've also got the wrong Dalek song where they put the little. This is the roll of sellotape that they stuck down the shoulder to help identify them in rehearsals, and they got
unreal.
Anyway, June 1964. So the show had only been running for how many months? About 8 months at that point, and that was the very first item of merchandise. Don't you love the logo? Doesn't that work?
Yes, because it's still used today. I mean, Simon, I'm so jealous of that because I've only seen it once about 10 years ago at a comic fair in Chester, and it was in one of those plastic bags that supposed to look after the books, and it was battered and bruised. And the spine was also, in the old books, the spine would come off and you could see the brown spine underneath it and all this sort of stuff. And the guy wanted £110 for this book. So I was humming and hawing because, as we all know, I don't like spending money. So I'm humming and hawing. And I thought, right, I'll go for a coffee. And I went for a coffee. And as I'm having a coffee, I thought, yeah, I'll never, I'm too far away from it. I'll go back. So I went back, it had gone. Somebody else supported there and then. And it was not. I mean, where the hell did you get that? That is a beautifully conditioned.
I have to say, it simply came off a certain auction website.
Really, isn't it beautiful? And of course, it goes down in history as also being the first annual related to Doctor Who, not just the first bit of merchandise.
If you pay me enough money, I'll go to his house and break it. I'll get it for you.
Would you also, Mega Geeky? Would you also dress as the milk tray man, or is that extra?
I will. No. I'll do that. Always wanted that. I'll do that.
He does requests. We've got the Script Doctors live here. Says, what's he say? It's been raining here for the last 3 days. I should get my kayak out and row to work. Well,
where's here? Where are the Script Doctors live?
I can't. Somewhere in the States.
He's in Canada.
In Canada. Oh, I bet it's raining over there now with your election result. Never mind, love. You'll get over it.
Well, speaking about umbrellas, he's got one. I thought this might tickle you in particular, Barnaby, as a bit of a Seventh Doctor fan.
Yeah.
So Stephen Moffat, who's
I thought it was Father Christmas.
Stephen Moffat, who's out on location for his new show. I think it's the Time Traveler's Wife that he's making somewhere
it is,
at the moment. So yes, he put this out on Instagram this week. He's been keeping dry with this relic from the late 80s. What do you reckon of that?
Relic?
I think it'd be a lot drier if it used it the other way.
Yeah,
it might open it up. Yeah,
it's like he's scratching his ear with that.
It does, doesn't it?
Well, seems as you've got the sweater on.
Good old Steve.
I was going to say though, sorry. When have you ever seen Moffat smile? Like that's his normal face. He never looks.
Around about 2001, I think, wasn't it? Hey, listen. If you want one of those umbrellas, I'm just seeing here that the lovely Garbage. Hi, Garbage. How are you, love? He wants one of those. Try the Who shop. They might still have them. They might not, but that's where I got mine.
Oh, are they commercially available? See, I didn't know this. But
you could get them at the Who shop for a while. There's mine over there.
Knowing that Barnaby does cosplay as the Seventh Doctor sometimes, I thought this may complete the look there.
Yeah, I think I might have to do the pilgrimage up there. Is it still in East Ham? Is it still up there?
Yeah.
I've got to go back up there again. God, I haven't been up there for about 7 years now. I got to go again.
It's worth the trip just to go and see the lovely staff in there as well, Barnaby. So even if they don't have what you're looking for, you're bound to pick up something, and you can speak to the guys as well.
Moffat has that face where you can tell that he's trying to get his face in the picture of his phone. You can just literally tell he's going. Yeah.
Oh, hang on. Excuse me.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got to just say as well, Crimpling Doubloon has just asked if in the chat if the crossword is done in this. There's no crossword, believe it or not. There's no crossword in this one. There's a fab game, and that's not being filled in. And I've just realised as well, I'm just showing off now. It's not even been price clipped. Look at that. It's still got the
9.6 in old money. Wow, beautiful. You have to look after that, Simon.
Oh, I am. Don't you worry.
Question. It'll probably be Simon by end of this, so we can fight over that annual.
There you go.
Fine. Yes, so Crimpling Doubloon says, as it's the end of the season, which one of you will fall off a radio telescope? Not planning on it, but the night is young, Crimpling. Thank you for being here.
I've got some carrot juice here.
Carrot juice?
Carrot juice.
Carrot juice.
Carrot juice.
Yeah, so we've got a few things to sort of softly discuss, but I've noticed, it is the end of this season. We've been going now for a few months, virtually without a break. Obviously, we'll be back in a few weeks' time. We won't leave you too long, but I've noticed that in the shops over the last couple of weeks, of course, it's the middle of September, so the Christmas stuff has started to appear, everybody.
What?
Oh, yes. Yes.
I can't believe it. So we're going to be taking a look a little bit later on at some of the Doctor Who goodies that may make your Christmas list. See what you make of all of that. But generally have a bit of a rock out. Yeah, rock out with your doc out. I think that's the that's the expression.
Rock out with what?
Are you allowed to say
doc out?
What did you say? Oh, 2 years, so madam years.
Rock out with your doc out.
This is a family show, Dan.
Yeah.
Well, it is till 9 o'clock anyway.
And seeing as we have a few people who are joining us for the first time this evening, yes, you can catch us if you're wondering what it's all about. We make these live streams now and again when we can round everybody up to misbehave in the manner that you've become accustomed. And there's a whole playlist full of our earlier shows up for when we are off for you to go and stream for when you miss us. So there's over 30 fabulous conversations. It's us messing around, gossiping, I suppose, about whatever's happening.
Messing around? How dare you?
And also,
it's of Doctor Who.
When you go and look at these and the previous season as well, Spacebookers, if you haven't been with us all this time, if you go back and watch them in the break, you will see us bringing absolute news to you months before it's actually real. We're on the button here. We are the voice of Doctor Who Common Sense. Subscribe and stay with us.
And you'll be pleased to know, by the way, we're now in 65 inches, apparently. I've just had a message from Dan Cartwright to say we're on his 65-inch screen in his room.
Hey. Oh, my God, and you should have dieted.
Positively cavernous in here, which brings me to the first rumour I've heard. Charlotte, I wonder if you've heard this one. Just as JT said, this is the place to come. This is the place not only where Doctor Who meets...
Sorry, Bananarama's just come into my head, but I heard a rumour. We need to get the rights to that to use this,
Where the world of Doctor Who meets the world of common sense, which, as we know, the world of common sense is rather elusive for a lot of people out there.
Not
but
common.
We do like to bring that together with Doctor Who. But we also bring you the rumours and the news. I'm going to say news because when we bring it to you, it is the news. We've had a great track record all year. Nearly 2 months ago, we led with this story, and now it's turned up again on Reddit, so it's making its way through Twitter, that the production of Doctor Who is about to move away from being based in Cardiff. Have you heard that one, Charlotte?
Well, I heard this as part of just the people on YouTube, let's put it, including ourselves, a few other people who were basically saying that this isn't a normal handover. The show isn't going to just pop back up with a new Doctor. It's going away for a bit. And there's just multiple processes. And one of those is the location being lost, that we're no longer going to be in Cardiff, which is sad. Because I think for people like me and Starry, who sort of Cardiff and the sort of the scenes and thinking about who in that location, it's quite nostalgic, isn't it, Starry? Because that's when it started with Christopher and the revival.
Oh, bless.
It's really sad.
It's the end of an era, but I think it was inevitable, wasn't it, Sarah? And everything has its time, as they say, doesn't it?
It's just sad that it had to end this way. But
well, it didn't have to. If they got the show right and did the original casting right, it would have carried on. But there you go. If they put everybody in place that knew what they were bloody well doing, it would have been fine.
I also think that a massive reason why they've lost Cardiff is because of how long Chibnall takes to make a bleeding season. I really think if he would have been a bit more consistent.
It was the coof. It was coof that stopped them.
Oh, of course, it's the coof for everything.
I feel
what do you call it? The coof. That's
I'm
funny.
not allowed to say it, otherwise you get banned on YouTube. So you can't say it.
You can't say. You can't say COVID.
Yeah.
Oh
no.
What did you say?
It's one of those things that the algorithm picks up on. You're not.
Yeah, it picks it up.
You can't say it.
Don't say it, JT. Don't say it.
It's definitely inevitable. Because obviously, we had the Doctor Experience closing, and then we had Eddie's Diner closing, which I was really gutted about. And it just. Yeah, that closed a couple of years ago now, and it
did, didn't it? I read about that on Facebook with it. But it doesn't matter. We're in the you'll get over it. You'll adapt because the new version will be different again, and wherever it's probably going to be in London. Let's face it. It'll be okay. You'll be all right.
Yes. The feeling I'm getting is that the BBC are just kind of scaling back on all of the sort of regional centres. It's really bizarre. On the one hand, there's the BBC a few years ago saying, "Oh, we're all going out to the regions. We're going to give lots of work to." Oh no, now we're all going to claw it back in to London. So they spent millions on infrastructure of putting these regional hubs. And I was one of those regional hubs. I moved into Birmingham when the Birmingham BBC opened. I moved in there, and then. now it's down. I think the BBC Birmingham now is a broom cupboard. Literally, that's it. It's gone.
Really? Do you know why? It's because all the Londoners that they shift into all the regional places like Birmingham and Glasgow, and couldn't understand what anybody was saying, so they've had to take it all back home.
Sorry, JT. I didn't catch that. JT, what was that?
Yes, so Doctor Who is almost certainly not going to be based in Wales as a production anymore. We were talking about this long before everybody else here on Type 40 Live, and I think it's about time we started boasting about these things a little more often, don't you? So yes, if you missed us breaking that, but you're still quite impressed, you want to make sure you're ahead of the curve, like the channel. Like the video, sorry. Told you I've been away for a little while. Like the video. Please like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Yes, this is the season finale, but we will be back, and there's other Doctor Who content too. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Then you'll get the notifications. If you turn on the cloister bell in the corner, when we do come back, you'll be the very first to know about it. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. And share us along too, so that more people can come and join the party.
Yay! And it will be a party when we come back as well, because the big build-up's coming, isn't it? So...
Garbage says BBC broom cupboard is Andy Peters and Philip Schofield in there. That's
absolutely not. I could tell you some stuff about PS. I could tell you. Absolutely not. Oh, we're going back.
BBC needs to pull its head from its bum, says Game Closet. So yes, there's no love lost between us and the BBC.
She's going to die.
She's
going to die.
To make sure as many people hand in their TV licenses as possible. I'm going to ignore Ian singing over my okay. So, yeah, the one talking about the BBC though, and talking about things that we do love and people that we do love or did love. I wanted to spend a little while just talking about this guy. So a few days ago, John Challis passed away.
Oh, so sad.
Marlene.
So John Challis was, as I'm sure you'll all be aware. I mean, maybe people outside the UK aren't quite so familiar with this wonderful, lovely actor. He was 79 years of age, born in 1942, an English actor with a massive career, particularly on British TV. There wasn't really a drama or comedy show that this guy didn't do at least a guest shot on, be it The Sweeney, Juliet Bravo, all those shows that you would expect, the gentle touch, Casualty. He did them all, as well as several parts in much loved sitcoms. You got shows like Benidorm, which was on ITV up until a few years ago, very popular show which he went into. But most of all, of course, he played Aubrey Boyce on Only Fools and Horses between 1981 and when the show wrapped up in 2003. And the spin-off show as well, The Green Grass, which ran for 3 or 4 seasons, just a short while later. I think that the entire British public, the British viewing public, above a certain age, loved this actor. And Doctor Who fans, we were amongst them, because who doesn't love Boyce? It's an incredible character. But John played Scobie for us.
I love that picture. That's great.
That's so good.
John played the heavy, didn't he, Scobie, in the 6-part story, The Seeds of Doom, back in 1976.
Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
The Tom Baker era.
Loving the hairstyle.
So whilst this guy, this actor, in Doctor Who terms, you could say he was just another henchman, but he had a lot of charisma even then, and he did quite a bit with a relatively small part, bringing lots of attitude. But I think what has endeared him to Doctor Who fans over the years is the fact that he has, despite this huge success and this kind of low-level national treasure status that he's had through Only Fools and Horses being such a huge show, he loves still being associated with Doctor Who, Ian.
Ian's turned himself off.
He's turned his mic off.
Sorry.
He talks when I don't want him to.
He's eating. I know
I was chewing ice.
Chewing ice.
You strange mega geeky.
He's always eating.
What was the question?
Seeds of Doom is a pivotal Tom Baker story, one that figures pretty high on a lot of people's list. It's got something for everybody. But it has probably got the ultimate Doctor Who henchman here in Scobie, I think, JT. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Why has this character particularly stood longer than the rest? Because Doctor Who's got a lot of heavies, got a lot of henchmen in its past.
I think it's simply because of what he did after he left, and because the majority of the British public really took themselves into Only Fools and Horses with, full gusto from definitely from season 2 onwards, and it was around for it's another British iconic show now, isn't it? It's part of the culture, the way that it looks. We still hear the things like, "Oh, you plonker, Rodney," all this sort of stuff comes out through it, and I think it's because we had that. He was still in our visual capacity, if you like. And we knew him as Scooby, but also he had that beautiful take on that character. I mean, that story is one of my all-time favorites. I'll go back and watch it very happily anytime. And he's in there as that one. You just don't really like him, You just don't, and it's beautiful played.
Barnaby, this man had a career that any actor would envy with this list of credits. There's like 60 TV shows or whatever, right across the board. I mean, what do you think about the success of John Challis? This is a big character, and yet people love him. They know who he is, don't they?
Oh, totally. It's just so utterly well earned. I mean, like, again, with Doctor Who, I also grew up with Only Fools and Horses, and I can still remember I watched it when I was way too young to watch it, yet somehow we found it. And my brother and I just going, Marlene, and just halfway through, like, just doing it each other. But also such a fascinating life as well, because wasn't he head of the British Hedgehog Association as well?
Something like that, yeah. I think so, yeah.
He was so also a conservationist, so also did some very, very important work there, and just but Boise will always be the thing which I personally will always remember him as, because I mean there's a reason he got his own series afterwards. Green Grass, he was just so wonderful, and when he was in all the Only Fools and Horses movies as well, he was just such a quotable and just such a funny character. God, he was brilliant.
That was the thing about Only Fools as well, wasn't it? Because you could see the first series is about the three main characters, Del Boy and Rodney and Grandad. And then, because of the generosity of not just the writers, but also the actors, the family grows as the series grows and continues. And he became part of that really important mix. I mean, those scenes at the pub and when they're all together, it gives you that vibe that British television doesn't necessarily have anymore. If that makes sense.
It's a funny thing as well. It's a funny thing, I think, Simon, because when we have an actor that everybody loves in one particular part, Doctor Who fans like it because we kind of got him first.
That's exactly it. That's what I was going to say. That's the thing I think about this, and so many other actors where you've seen them in Doctor Who, so you know them so well from Doctor Who. So when he appears in Only Fools and Horses, we're the only ones that are going, we know who that is. We know this guy. We feel we're one step ahead, and that to me is actually one of the great things about certainly classic Who, maybe more so than New Who, in that because that sort of repertory of actors was constantly crisscrossing across all manner of BBC shows, you would always see somebody. You tune into any BBC show in the 70s or 80s, and you would see somebody that you recognised from Doctor Who, and nobody else knew who it was. So it was that almost that sort of secret society.
Absolutely. Well, it's very similar to what we were saying about Tony Selby a couple of weeks back, wasn't it? He was, and these two gentlemen passing in the same sort of time illustrates that whole thing, and that whole sort of working environment where everybody was around, and you could say, "Are you three?" Magic days that will never come back.
Correct. They were literally swapping between studios. Literally, they would move between studios to do stuff.
Well, there was a certain circle of actors, wasn't there? They kept using all the time, constantly. Yeah.
Well, there were always stories. There were always stories, Mega Geeky, that actors, if they were out of work at the time, would go and sit in the BBC staff canteen waiting for somebody to come and say, "Are you doing anything at the moment?" I don't know if they were true, but you used to hear those stories.
I know that Patrick Troughton actually used to do that. He would walk the corridors until one of the executives that knew him, he would make it look like he was there for an appointment. And
carrying a script.
Because
I wish it was like that.
He didn't do stage work, as we famously know. He loved being on TV, and so he would, I just happened to catch them by the lift or whatever else. That was his little.
Beautiful. Yeah, Barnaby, it's a shame that you guys in the profession they can't do that. I mean, that's one of the many sad things about White City and BBC Television Centre not being there anymore, and now being flats with people living in them. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but all that culture has gone. And maybe tying in with what Simon was saying at the top of the show, maybe they've realised now the possible mistake of making it all all over the shop, apart from the expense that has occurred and the rents that they're paying for the buildings that are all over the country now. No, I don't know.
When you're part of equity in those days, you were kind of guaranteed a job in those days, especially in the 60s. If you're part of equity, they, 9 times out of 10, you'll end up on the BBC in some show, some or the other. So, that's the way it was in those days. Yeah. I remember the BBC used to be able to walk in and you'd have someone at the desk, but you just walked in. Yeah. But obviously, as it went on, they got security in the bars and all that stuff, and you couldn't walk in.
I only remember the guys on the gate going, "Who are you? What do you want?"
You can always avoid them by ducking down.
I mean, the thing that strikes me about an actor, like John Challis, and that whole age.
That's what she's saying there. There are only 11 actors, and they're all in Downton Abbey, Vanessa.
That is true.
But it was an age of TV that had a coziness to it, whereby, and maybe some of those stories, because I get the impression that Patrick Troughton used to embellish the truth a little bit, because he was a storyteller, a low-level sort of raconteur, as I think a lot of these actors are, and John Challis was too. And I suppose it was a community where the people who work in at an executive level had often been to school with maybe some of the actors, and so there's a little bit of the old boys network in there. Well, you've got a situation where somebody like Barry Letts, who'd been an actor, eventually sort of went into production instead and direction. People would find their ways sort of in one door and out of another and back round. Whereas I don't know how easy it is to do that nowadays. I think
it's hard. It's very hard
to pigeonhole people. But going back to John Challis for a moment, the thing about him that I find fascinating is the fact that he was a city boy and a working actor. And then around 20 years ago, something like that, he decided, through that love of nature that you were talking about, Barnaby, that he would just go and buy a farm out in Shropshire, I think it was, and go to that kind of lifestyle instead, kind of to live off the land and
Good
to
life.
become, and kind of
wasn't getting enough jobs.
I don't think he wanted for much. I think he still drove to work. He didn't take the tractor like Tom Good. But he made that big change, which inspired John Sullivan to create the Green Grass, which is exactly what Boise does in that show. So I think he's just a fascinating character. Yeah. And I used to follow him. I used to follow John Challis on Twitter. I had a couple of little exchanges with him, the way that you do. But he was always, always in his garden, taking pictures of whatever wildlife was about. He was very engaged with the convention community. I never met the man, but I did see him. What I can only describe as holding court at the NEC. It was him and Sue Holderness in character. They had, I'd say, 150 people all around them, no security. They had them in the palm of their hands. They
lovely. I have to say to any of our foreign cousins that are watching the show, Only Fools and Horses is huge here. It does have its own massive fan base of people that are not like any of us, but they appreciate their show in a similar way, and you can get the odd Only Fools and Horses convention and stuff like that going. Just so we can put that out there. Yeah.
Have they got a name like like the Harry Potter fans? Or
no, because nothing's been given. Nothing's been given to us by the Americans, Starry. So no, they don't.
Yes. So one last rest in peace to John Challis. It's been been wonderful. It's been hilarious, and I think he passed away in his sleep. Everybody, which I don't think. You can't think of a better way to go. The man he suffered for a few years with poor health down to cancer, which he had kept completely private, which you've got to respect that. Absolutely. But he will be missed. For a man of his age, he was very active. He'd recently shot a documentary last year of his own creation. So obviously to see a creative man, a man who the public loved and who loved the public, it's no longer with us. It is very, very sad. And that image of him in Doctor Who there. We saw him as Scobie with Sarah Jane. No, that will live on. We can rewatch that. And thank you, John, for all that.
Well, thank you, John. Yeah, but you're saying rewatch there. I still find it very sad that the days when they would have repeated an Only Fools episode to mark his passing seem to have gone on the BBC.
Yes,
for the various reasons. I mean, I did look to see if they were going to do anything, and they didn't show that. And I just thought that's a real sad shame now.
He's a white male. He's a white male.
No,
and also because it's that show, isn't it? Which they won't dare show that anymore.
Oh no, and let's be fair, it would offend so many people like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they don't have a sense of humour.
Yeah,
we have Julian Raxel adds rest in peace Maurice Perry too. Terrific character actor.
Yes.
Perry's Dent is arguably the least caricatured and most grounded of the human Who villains. Dent could well have stood a return visit to the show. You'll have to refresh my memory, Simon. Dent,
it's Colony in Space from season 10 box sets. Season 10, season 8.
Yep.
Which one? Season 8 or season 10? 8, isn't it?
8.
And Julian's quite right. He's very uncaricatured. The thing about Dent in Colony in Space, he's very, very underplayed. So whereas a lot of actors at that point were still shouting very loudly because they thought they were on stage at the time. Maurice Perry just keeps it quite low key throughout. But he's got the worst hairstyle, I think, in any Doctor Who episode ever. I feel so sorry for him. I don't know what they did to his hair. It's shocking. Shocking hairdo.
Got to be honest,
Thank the stylist.
I can't
bless him,
quite
absolutely.
place this guy. Because, as I've said before, the Pertwee era is my bogey era. So there are lots of stories that I can't remember the details of. So I hadn't seen that gentleman had died, but obviously,
it's cracking in it.
Another sad Doctor Who loss. But looking at this picture here of John Challis with Elizabeth Sladen there brings to mind. It has to bring to mind our Sarah Jane, and it's been 10 years since we lost Liz Sladen. But I wondered if any of you had seen this. Obviously, we are getting up to the Christmas season, which means that Doctor Who merchandise, which has been a little bit thin on the ground lately, Doctor Who merchandise is starting to appear, and we have this entire new range. You're going to love this, Ian. This is the Doctor Who flashback collection we're about to talk about now.
Going in.
In particular, they're leading with a selection of Sarah Jane inspired merchandise. So here's
my eyes.
Very sweet.
We've got mugs, we've got sweatshirts, we've got pin badges, we've got whatever else with the words "My Sarah Jane" across them, and the pattern from her dungarees from the Hand of Fear.
Yes.
Oh,
look at the owl.
I love the pin badge of the owl.
I knew you'd love the owl, so I thought we'd get a closer look at that. That's a little pin badge of the cuddly owl that she's also got in the Hand of Fear, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I just wish they'd really release a proper toy of that. I mean, it was a toy in the sense. It was a real genuine toy.
Oh, was it?
And they go for a fortune. You can still get them on eBay occasionally. They go for a fortune. I'd love them to release those as a proper toy. Fantastic.
I remember, Charlotte, it's merchandise, not merch. Okay?
I'm trying to be good for that. I hope you notice.
Don't listen, Charlotte. It's
Ignore him.
I believe that Sadie Miller.
I was never getting at her. Let's just make that clear. I was never. All I said was that it made me laugh when she said that. That's all I said.
But considering that we are where we are with Doctor Who merchandise at the moment, and people have said about our focus on the classic era on this show, but we have to focus on the classic era when the BBC merchandising department are, because look at this, and here's the print that they're putting out to go with this. My Sarah Jane.
Really, I don't like it at all. I think it's absolute hack.
I'm filling up.
I think it's awful. Absolutely awful.
I think it would look
framed.
No, don't like it. Next.
I like it.
I really like it.
Really like this. I think
I would wear that. Obviously, and it's got the stars, and it's got Sarah on it. So
and that quote at the bottom, there was this one guy, I travelled with him for a while, but he was a tough lad to follow. And funny enough, I've just watched School Reunion only on a couple of nights ago. I rewatched School Reunion for the first time since original broadcast, and that's because I genuinely couldn't bring myself to watch the episode again, because I literally cried and cried and cried on original transmission. It still breaks my heart, that episode, and that line. Oh,
it's a great episode. Fantastic
Wonderful
episode,
stuff.
it really is.
But I just think it's they've got a little bit of a blurb here. It says from the BBC about this whole range. 45 years on from Sarah Jane's final regular appearance in Doctor Who, this exclusive art print features numerous quotes from the Doctor and Sarah that sum up that unique friendship, all against the backdrop of Sarah's costume from that final adventure. And the print is limited to 100 units. It's 11 by 14 inches, whereas the entire range there is available through Forbidden Planet, www.forbiddenplanet.com.
Forbidden Planet.
And
well, that'll fill some of their shelves then, won't it? Considering nothing else does.
Yeah, it's a strange item to focus on in 2021 in some respects.
I think to show you this, talking of owls, it isn't the official one, but my friend made me this, and it's
That's fantastic.
it's actually got Doctor Who fabric, as you can see.
Brilliant.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I like to pretend that this is my Sarah Jane owl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Yeah.
I think when I look back at that time, the 70s, and when she came back to the show, and we go on about how great Liz Sladen was all the time, don't we?
Absolutely, and so we should.
But I think that a tribute like that, obviously it's not going to be to everybody's taste, JT, but I think that the fact that there's a range of products like that, I think it's really quite timely. I think it's for merchandise, and considering this is the brand that not that long ago brought us Time Lord Victorious, that this is the first item of the first line of merchandise we've seen in a long time that's not completely tone deaf. I think there is an appetite out there. There is an appetite out there for merchandise that celebrates Sarah Jane, the Sarah Jane adventures, and her contribution to Doctor Who. We've got lots of fans of your owl turning up in the chat here, watching.
It'd be interesting, Dan, to see if there is a market for that sort of stuff, because a few shows, many shows back, we recovered the Logopolis stuff, which is done by those people, and apparently that did not sell. But the interesting thing is, of course, and we all know why, is that they are absolutely dragging everything from the classic period, from 1963 to 1989. They're going to go through all that. That's where the merchandising has come from. Look at the character options stuff. It's all now from that time, but we're not seeing anything from 2005 onwards, because all the licensees are going, right, the big stuff is 63 to 89. Let's focus on that, and let's see what we can do with those characters. It's very interesting for merchandise.
I suppose it helps when some things step from one era to the other, or should I say trundle, because the flashback range also contains a load of brand new K9 bits and bobs. We've got a K9 Christmas T-shirt along with the official K9 Christmas card.
Merry Christmas, Master.
What would you like for Christmas, K9?
Another beautiful key fob. So, JT, with your love of K9, does this please you slightly more?
I was aware of this, and it's okay. I will only buy the key fob. I'm not interested in just something that's going to say Christmas, because you can only use it for a couple of weeks. I think the design on that stuff is better. I'm not going to say too much more about that.
I'm sold.
Humbug. Bar humbug.
Well, I think it's really good, because Christmas seems to be a dirty word at the BBC.
Exactly.
It does.
Yeah.
So I think so. Anything,
anything Christmas, I'm for it. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too. I'm with you on that one.
Who doesn't love K9 merchandise? Says Wendology. Kelly says
apparently JT doesn't like Christmas.
No. I love Christmas.
Such a Scrooge, isn't he?
And I love K9, and I'm not a Scrooge. I'm just saying I wouldn't buy anything that was particular merchandise, which is $24.99, that you can only wear at 2 weeks of the year. That's you can't go out in June wearing a Merry Christmas K9 T-shirt, but I would keep.
But that doesn't matter. That just makes it special to bring out every year for Christmas.
Exactly.
You grumpy old buzzard, JT.
I am not being grumpy, and I can't say much more about that particular line of K9 material. I can't say too much more, but I would stay tuned, because there may be more coming. I can't say much more than that.
The Doctor Who Christmas range of Christmas jumpers is also on the way too, everybody.
Here we go.
Before we leave K9 says that don't forget, a K9 is for life. not just
Not
for
just for
Christmas.
Christmas. That is
Very
true.
true. Very true.
Absolutely.
For those out there who are not so into the cute and the cuddly and the tin dog variety, there are another bunch of pins in this flashback range too. So these are geared around the Doctor Who monsters. You can see we're looking at a Dalek pin, a Cyberman pin, a Weeping Angel, and a one that is for the glory of the Sontaran Empire. Looking very, very classic. Centric that one. It's just a classic Sontaran.
Well, Dan, what I can't understand with that one, and I'm very pleased to see it, but they've gone back to classic Sontarans with the classic Sontaran ship. I'm amazed that they've done that. I'm delighted, but amazed.
Where have they gone for the modern style Cyberman though? I'm not very happy about that.
Maybe because
maybe they've done two more modern stuff, two more classic, maybe.
Or maybe they made a mistake with the Sontaran one. They probably made a mistake.
Unless, I mean, they've kind of vaguely gone back to that sort of looks-ish from what we see of the photos in the upcoming episodes. So,
can I just reply to a comment that Kelly's mentioned in the chat? She asked if there was a Funko K9. Yes, there was, but you've missed your chance. It was a limited edition.
eBay.
Quite a while ago, wasn't it? That
it was a few years back. Yeah, I'll get you after the break because it's up there, and I'll let you see it. But so stay tuned.
What a Funko K9 looks like.
It's actually one of the cutest. It's a bit of plastic that they put eyes on, but with K9, it's actually a sort of figurine. But I'll stay tuned. I'll get it for you later, and you can have a look.
See that.
Well, if that's one line of merchandise, that's the flashback collection, and we had, as usual, our wonderful companions in the chat watching on YouTube and Facebook. We had lots of people say, "I'll buy without the logo." All that kind of thing that always pops up. That's our disclaimer. We know nobody likes the logo. We don't like it either. Blah, de, blah. But you know what? I think that the BBC know that nobody likes it, and that could be why they're launching another range of merchandise too. So we've just looked at the flashback range of merchandise. Say hello, everybody, to the Doctor Who. Do that again. That was good. Who was that?
Hello.
There we are.
That wasn't Barnaby. It was JT.
I throw my voice into the other chat.
Say hello, Barnaby, to the Doctor Who regeneration range, where they are.
That's different.
Oh no! Apart from the last one.
I can see it. Yeah, I see it, Ian. I see it.
I was going to buy that shirt, but not anymore.
I love that. Apart from
I like the idea of that. I think there's a lot you can do with that idea, isn't there?
I'd still buy it. I actually still go with that. That's classy. I would, even though it's got the Whittaker logo on there, I'd go with that. Yeah. I like it.
Is that a long sleeve T-shirt?
Yeah.
It is indeed.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. I
recommend a black felt tip pen. Black felt tip pen right at the end of the last one.
You could always put a badge or something over the lap, couldn't you?
Bit of gaffer tape across it. Yeah.
This is the start of a brand new range which was listed from Zavvi some months ago. There was a lot of speculation about what the regeneration range was going to be, particularly when we found out that Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker were leaving, because a lot of people were speculating that it was going to tie into the regeneration, but it's not. It's something that's been planned for a lot longer. We've got a blurb here, and it says, "Who is the Doctor for you? Do you remember the very beginning or the 21st century? Whichever it is, show your love for your favourite Doctor and companion with Zavvi's exclusive Doctor Who regeneration range." Zavvi has taken the TARDIS and is taking the range back through the years, all the way back to 1963, where Doctor Who began and become a significant part of British popular culture, celebrating all the regenerations from the 1st to the 12th. Oh, they've only lived the 12th. This apparel range focus on the Doctors and the iconic monsters of their time. All T-shirts are made from pre-shrunk 100% cotton, blah, 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 and available from www.savvy.com. So, on one hand, we've got a T-shirt which, you can always pick off. Get the iron out.
Yeah, get your iron out. Yeah,
But otherwise, I think you've got a bold bit of merchandise here. But I think the fact we're just 2 or 3 years on from a time when a certain showrunner, the worst showrunner in TV history, Mr. Chris Chibnall, declared that all merchandise was going to be emblazoned wherever it was, whether it was Big Finish or books or whatever, was all going to be dominated by the identity for his show, that the legacy branding was going to disappear. Now, just a couple of years on, we have the dawn of the regeneration branding and the bringing back of the legacy, a realignment and a definite aim towards not just the classic fan, actual proper Doctor Who fans, the Doctor Who fans who have been investing in this brand up until the recent past. I think this is a major signifier of intent in the short term and possibly long term for merchandise. If you want to take a look, here's another couple of examples of items from the Regeneration range.
There we go. Yeah.
Oh, they're beautiful.
Rather sweet K9 t-shirt there, and another t-shirt featuring the 8th Doctor and the War Doctor. Artwork by Mike Collins there, the actual storyboard artist on Doctor Who, and several comic books over the years. You've got those, and you've got more t-shirts here, all stretching back over the years. Lots of Doctors and title sequences and graphics, most of which is comic book art. I think a lot of it is a newly commissioned comic book art as well. There's a really striking piece up there with Peter Davison's Doctor in neon pink. All sorts of things going on. So this is, I think this is a way of bringing back the legacy branding with a bit of a bang, really, through the lifestyle range first, Simon, and then perhaps back onto the books, back onto the CDs, back. I mean, am I being too hopeful of a return? Because we now have, there's a distinction, for example, on character options. They now have 2 lines of merchandise. They have their standard merchandise, and they have what they call their heritage line. So they're starting to differentiate. Maybe everything else is too. What do you lot think?
I personally think you're spot on. And the thing is that what you've got to remember here is that nothing gets released without BBC approval. So they've approved this. So they know that these logos are going back out there again. Anything that's got an old, in inverted commas, logo on there has been approved by the BBC. So, yeah, the idea that the only logo that would exist is that ghastly Chibnall one really is no longer relevant, and that's just faded away, and we're now using the original logos back. And I don't know, is it because the BBC has realised that there's such a backlash against that logo, because there is? Is it also because they are kind of trying to distance themselves a little bit now away from an era that has failed? So it was all well and good a few years ago to say this is the only branding now for Doctor Who, because they thought that they were moving forward to a bold new future with a new fan base, etc., etc. They realise it's backfired. So as a commercial organisation, what are you going to do? You're going to ditch the brand.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, Simon, but we've also got to remember we've been down this route before. Back in '96, they called it the regeneration phase or something when the Paul McGann movie came out. And if you remember, there was a slight hiatus, Facebookers, between certain pieces of merchandise, and when they all came back, they had the Paul McGann stroke Pertwee logo and everything, that sort of weird typeface.
That was why a couple of the VHS range became quite hard to get, because they came out
absolutely
in March, and they
Hand of Fear
got rid of that branding. Was it the Hand of Fear?
It was the Hand of Fear was the last one, and then the Green Death was the first one, and then there was a slight hiatus again after it. But this whole period is a place where, as we've said before on this show, they can review. This all planned. They know what they're doing. So to bring back all these elements of, I agree with what Simon's saying there, of using the old logos, is basically saying that's Doctor Who.
Yeah,
and it wouldn't surprise me now that with the show going OP, we will see more of that coming through, like that quite nice T-shirt there. And less of the Chibnall era, as though they're trying to say, let's just put it under the carpet, shall we?
Yeah, I think that's
a comment here from James A. Fitzpatrick Charlotte, who says it feels like a desperate but welcome move by the Bee. What do you think? Is there anything here that's caught your eye?
No, I think it's also quite telling the language that they were like, almost pick your doctor, because the language for a while was, oh, you daresn't mention almost the other Doctors pre-Jodie. You have to like the 13th Doctor.
Yeah.
And for me, this is almost them saying, right, we understand there is some fan base for her, but there's fan bases for other Doctors. And that's what I find interesting, is the acknowledgement that way.
I think it's obvious.
It's as though they're trying to bring us back, isn't it, now, Charlotte? You know, they're trying to say, see you guys that we got rid of a few years ago. Would you like to come back with your wallets, please?
Yeah. It's basically they're asking you to come back. They're asking you to come back, but they don't want to ask you to come back.
And they'll also have to bring us back, because when they relaunch the show in whatever format it's going to be, whether it be a movie or whether it be a TV series or wherever it's going to be, they're going to need us to support it.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's not just the merchant. It's not just the merchandise, though. Like, think about the first series of Jodie. he quite boldly said, "I'm not going to use any old monsters." We didn't get any old monsters.
We know that.
Yeah.
And then by
We got the tooth monster. Yay!
But like I said, if you sort of stack it almost, before all this new merch came out, we had Jadoon, we had Captain Jack. That was like, I think the start of this is what I think what Dan's getting at. That was the start, and now we're seeing it move further along into the merchandise.
Well, don't forget, if what we were told a couple of years ago was correct, and certainly last year, studios actually met with the Doctor Who production office to say, well, your first season wasn't as strong as it should be. Can you bring back some familiar elements, please, to bring back some of the fans?
That's exactly
so
what they said.
that's where studios started to really think, oh, we've got to do something about this.
What I'm noticing here, Ian, is, and it could be something, it could be nothing, is because this has been written, this is on Zavi's website, they're launching this range. It's a BBC Studios led brand. This is Doctor Who branding. It's a big launch. There's a lot of products in this line, but in all of the official blurb launching this line, like I say, could be something, could be nothing. There's no dicking around with pronouns. The Doctor is a he in every single blurb.
Really?
The Doctor and his companions, his monsters, his adventures, right the way down.
Very interesting.
That is incredibly
They have
revealing.
failed. They have failed abysmally, but they will not admit it. That's the problem with.
And when it comes to the merchandising, which they have to make money on because they have to have a profit, they're going to go down the line to make us think, "Oh, well, I'll have that. That's my Doctor Who." Very, very interesting. That's an interesting sales tactic.
Yeah.
So we'll be following up on the progress of the regeneration range,
Absolutely.
everybody, in the Facebook group, on the Facebook page, and here on Type 40 Live too, as more items pop up. Take a punt on whatever takes your fancy. Let us know how it fits. Send us your pictures. Get in touch through our social media, Instagram and Twitter at Type 40 Doctor Who, or in the comments section here. However you like, we're easy to get in touch with. But I think that a few items from that little lot could find their way under a few Christmas trees as time goes on. Digby Strawbridge chips in.
Hi, Digby.
Chibnall's era has been a disaster in terms of merchandise because it was unpopular, and this has stemmed from its poor quality. Richard Brooks mentions the Tooth Monster again.
Tim Shaw.
You forget that one, Chris.
Sure.
Tooth monster. Yay.
Well spotted, Dan says the talents of Wayne Chiang. Thank you, Wayne. My pleasure. We've got holy smokes, a dash of sanity.
Finally.
Absolutely. Sounds like it. Let's see where it goes as well, Game Closet. We have to see where it goes now. The big tester will be the Doctor Who magazine.
Yes, of course. You're right.
I was sitting on the toilet the other day thinking about them. I was just thinking when
think about it.
absolutely when all this goes on, and what will happen now when the show comes off? And I think we'll see them desperately trying to get us all back to buy a very expensive magazine every single month, the same way they did when it came off in '89. Because we have to remember that magazine was continuous from '89 to 2005, and actually it had absolute wonderful content for the majority of that run where the show was off air. It didn't actually need the show. So I'm very interested to see what they do now to try and get us all back to buying it for however much it is now, $5.99 or whatever it is a month. It's a lot of money for it still.
Well, this is the most recent issue, isn't it? This one here.
You've got that one. Right, okay.
Oh, take that logo away!
It's a superb cover, isn't it? Such an inspiring cover, that, for heaven's sake.
Inspiring.
And it hasn't got Jodie. It's got John Bishop.
A leaflet rather than a magazine.
Yeah, that's
it,
actually. Yeah.
John Bishop. Jodie.
See, my brother saw that in the shop, and he asked me about it. He says, "What's going on with the cover of Doctor Who magazine?" That's actually
did he?
That's not a bad cover compared to some of them. But he asked me why that photograph, because this is how I view it, Barnaby, is that obviously John Bishop is in Doctor Who, but it's more of a John Bishop cover than a Doctor Who cover. It tells us nothing about the character, nothing about his story, about where he's going to sit. There's no elements. It's all that stripped back. It aligns with my instinct that they are relying on people liking John Bishop as a performer and turning up to watch this show.
Or the previous stuff as well, because on the back of the cover,
yep,
Really? 1980s, brilliant.
Just like
for a minute, I thought that was a club night I used to go to, Barnaby Club, back to the 80s, because they had that very similar logo. And I thought, my God, are they bringing that back? I'll have to get on a bus.
Yeah, oh dear.
Richard Brooks points out exactly what I was thinking. It looks like a tour poster.
Yeah.
Strange that.
John Bishop himself.
His Edinburgh Fringe show. Yeah,
It is. You're
Well,
right.
he's on
Dan.
tour, hasn't he? He starts now, doesn't he? September? No,
Yes,
is it
he
October?
does.
Beginning. Yeah, so he starts.
That's
'cause
why
I know
he's on Doctor Who.
they finish filming this week, don't they? The Golden Wrap is tomorrow or Saturday or sometime around about now. The Golden Wrap is, and then he more or less goes straight on the road, doesn't he?
Yeah.
From what I've heard, we're going to connect with Doctor Who, with now Doctor Who after the break. We've got quite a lot to unpack there too.
Oh, I'll take my tablets now then.
But for now, I think we should voyage back to the past, Simon.
Wee time.
Between the pages of your 500 dear diary. Dear? God,
it's a dear.
He's had the flu. He's had the flu this week, everybody, you know.
500
he's had too many Beechams.
Diary for on this day in Doctor Who history. Way back when. Go!
We've got to get rid of that for the next term season.
Bang, 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 bang.
Didn't even warn me.
Okay. This week, back through history. Yet again, this week we're celebrating 17 episodes. 17 episodes premiering through the years this week. I'm not going to list them all. They're all same as there's Witches' Power of 3, Closing Time. Battlefield 3, Time in the Rani 3, Mind Dropper 2, Galaxy 4 Part 3, Leisure Hype. There's so many of them. Too many to talk about. But we're going to talk about a couple of them. It's 7 years. It's 7 years this week since Time Heist. And it's 42 years. It's 42 years since Destiny of the Daleks Part 4.
Love Destiny of the Daleks.
We love
Destiny of the Daleks.
We love
Yes.
Now, this is quite interesting. Time Heist was the 5th episode of Series 8. Destiny of the Daleks, of course, was the first story in Season 17. Here's the interesting thing. Time Heist got 7 million viewers back in 2014 when it was first screened. Destiny of the Daleks got 14.5 million viewers. Twice as many as Time Heist. So what does that, what does that tell you, really?
Incredible figure.
Did people even have television sets back then?
Shut up, Barnaby. Stand in the corner immediately. I mean, look at that lovely picture of Tom and Lala on the swap shop set there as well.
Love her costume.
Isn't that lovely?
I think the costume is utterly divine. It's one of.
It is. She should have kept that all the way through.
This is what struck me recently, everybody. Time Heist is one of those episodes. I think I may have only watched it once, maybe twice, because I was doing Doctor Who reviews for a website then. So maybe I watched it twice, but I haven't seen it since. And all I can remember of it was the good-looking fella in the orange there that we can see on screen. I have no idea who he was.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Where he was going, or why.
It wasn't a bad episode.
No, I don't remember. No, but my point is, I don't remember either liking it or hating it.
I did like it. I liked it, but the ending was rubbish.
It left no. You always say that.
The ending was crap.
What I'm saying is, it's kind of left no mark on me after all this time. And the place I'm at now with some of these stories is there was such a momentum of Doctor Who in really quite a short period of time, in just over a decade, that I can now go back to some of these stories as we're doing on the channel, on the Type 40 brand at the moment, and kind of watch them completely fresh. So I'm looking forward to seeing Time Heist again.
I'll tell you the thing that I recognise about Time Heist is Time Heist looked spectacular. It really did. I don't know what the way they shot it. It looked the photography is really brilliant in Time Heist. And when you look at obviously, I don't want to mention the Jodie era, but when you look at the Jodie era, according to the last few seasons, the photography is really terrible compared to Time Heist. Time Heist photography is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I think they spent all the money in Time Heist, and then by the time they got to In the Forest of the Night, they ran out of money.
The ending of Time Heist is when he met his mate. They freed his mate, isn't it?
Yeah, because they erased their mind, didn't they, or something like that? And
can't remember. And then they were knackered at the end, going through a field. And I do remember now. Yes,
I was sitting there going, "What?" But I didn't like the ending.
Well, do that again. What were you doing? What? Do it again.
See, I have no recollection
Definitely
of the
worth
plot.
a rewatch, Dan. I think you'll find an appreciation for it.
It's not my cup of tea, but then
it's not as if. Well, I mean, what I'm saying is that some I think the sheer number of Doctor Who stories we got just in that decade and a little. There are only so many hours in the day, and it's been quite a boom time for TV generally. That some of these simply by virtue of the fact there was so much, that some of it has stayed with me more than others. And the fact that I haven't had time to go back, whereas with Doctor Who potentially being off screen for quite a while, I've now got time where I can kind of dip back and connect with some of these stories that I remember a little less of. But the Destiny of the Daleks, that was a big time for me as a young Doctor Who fan.
Yeah,
I latched onto the Mavellans in particular, Ian, in Suzanne Danielle, her name was.
Yes, please don't mention that. I just go weak at the knees.
It's weak at the knees.
That copy of the Radio Times for Ian, please.
I think that's our signal to move on there, Simon. What else have we got in the diary?
Okay, well, yesterday we're celebrating 2 birthdays yesterday, and that's 2 companions, and that's Billy Piper and Fraser Hines.
Yeah.
Billy Piper.
Happy birthday!
Happy
birthday!
I'm sure she won't mind me mentioning she was 39 yesterday.
God, was she?
Wow.
Yeah,
Very young.
I thought she was older than that.
How rude! And certainly
Be kind.
It's certainly one of the most
I thought she was.
new series
Always
companions.
be kind.
27 episodes she starred in, plus various cameos that she kept on coming back in, and of course she was memorably the moment in Day of the Doctor. I still don't know what the moment was. I honestly don't think it was a cheap cash-in just to try and shoehorn Billy Piper in. No, of course it wasn't.
The moment was the moment.
Never quite worked for me, but Billy Piper. I've said this before, but she absolutely won me over. I was one of the naysayers saying, "Oh my God, Doctor Who's dead" before it's even started, and I fell in love with Billy Piper the minute she first appeared on screen. And Fraser Hines, as I say, Fraser Hines was, bless him, Fraser Hines was 77 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
77. And Fraser, I mean, incredibly, when you look at the statistics, Fraser starred in as Jamie in 20 stories, which covers over 100 episodes across 3 years. He was in, let's not forget, he was in all but one of the Patrick Troughton stories.
Yes.
The only one he missed was Power of the Daleks, and that makes him basically the longest of any companion. He has the most episodes to his name of any companion. And
he's looking so well as well.
He does. He's so youthful. He moisturised.
He had some really great lines as well, didn't he?
Kregatoa. which apparently means gin and tonic in Gaelic or something. Kregatoa. Am I right?
No,
I don't know.
Fraser will tell you that.
Fraser. They're watching. Who can give us an answer on that? What is Kregatoa Gaelic?
Billy liked me. Look, she gave me a kissy.
Oh, did she?
Yeah.
Sorry for you.
I love Billy. I can't believe that Billy Piper is pushing 40. I mean, I did read today that Billy Piper is now the same age that Camille Kaduri was when she first started playing Jackie Tyler back in 2005. I find that extraordinary, Charlotte.
Well, yeah, because like Jackie, like you could tell she was older, but she always looked really good. Like just like Rose, they were both cracking sort of as a double.
Great actress though, terrific actress. Really brought that character to life. Yeah,
it's really making me feel old now because this is like my era now. Getting
you're old.
Yeah, you know how it feels, Starry.
I still have all those CDs.
Oh dear, but yeah, happy birthday, Fraser.
Honey to the Bee.
Yeah.
Was it that one?
Honey to the Bee. Yeah.
Honey to the Bee, classic.
Blimey, all our yesterdays.
So, big happy birthday.
Anyway, another
we want to.
Tomorrow we're celebrating a birthday. So celebrating David Banks, who is going to be 70 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Dave!
Really? Happy birthday, Dave!
For anybody who's not too familiar with his work, because he's never been seen like that in the television show on the right, he's never been seen in reality, only in a form of a Cyberman or a Cyber Leader, as he is there on the left. For those who don't know, he was in 4 classic stories. Earthshock, it was the first one he appeared in. He really absolutely made the part his own, which is why he then came back for the 5 Doctors, Attack of the Cybermen, and finally still the Nemesis. And really, he really embraced being the Cyber Leader. He was not just an actor that came in to do that part. Yes, classic excellent, as Richard Brooks was at Barnaby. I'm sure you could do a David Banks excellent for us.
Excellent.
Really quite a young
Cyberman. Cyberman.
I think he was Barnaby. I agree with that. And he's really quite a lot younger than I expected. I mean, you think about this is nearly 40 years ago then Barnaby that he started in that role.
Oh my gosh.
I love those costumes.
It's a brilliant design.
The best.
Yeah, I agree with you, Ian. They are the best Cybermen, I think. But let's not forget also, he then went on, his Doctor Who legacy then goes on for years and years and years. He wrote books. Here's one that he wrote. There we go, David Banks. Wrote
blimey.
And it's thick as well. You know, it's a proper book. Look at that. And then, of course, he wrote this one, which is the absolute tome of Cybermen.
It's a good book as well.
It's a
not bad, actually. Yeah, it's a nice, not bad book.
This is my original copy. There we are. There's signed by David Banks.
You show off.
I think he signed mine as well.
Yeah, he signed mine too. And my Ultimate Adventure program.
Yeah, 27th November 88. And yeah, he was in the Ultimate Adventure. Let's not forget he was in the Ultimate Adventure. He played Carl the Mercenary throughout the whole run of the Ultimate Adventure. Except, of course, as somebody's just pointed out in the chat, twice on the 29th of April, 1989, he played the part of the Doctor. I was lucky enough to be there that very night, so I got to see David Banks play the Doctor. There is...
Oh, look. Wow. And there's Simon there on the right. Look at that. Look, there's a baby Simon.
About 11, I think I am there.
Where exactly was this picture that we're looking at on the screen now taken, Simon?
That was around about 1988. That was back in the days
with that mullet.
The Hoonatics. so that's at a hotel in Walsall, just down the road from where I am now still. And that's David Banks. He was our very, very, very first guest at one of our meetings. A little bit of trivia for you there. On the left, the very far left with the red hair, that's David Roden, who wrote Dimensions in Time, except we don't talk about
that was Chibnall.
Who was one of the Who back in the day. But there are other people in the chat and watch our video, I know, who are in that photo. So if you are any of them, there you go. You're in. So that was
doesn't have blue hair. He doesn't have blue hair there either. I see you still don't have blue hair. Do you?
I don't have blue hair there.
No. Look, I hate to think how old those children are right now.
Yeah, they're all wow. But David Banks here was our very, very, very first guest. In fact, that would have been when he signed my Cybermen book. So yeah, it was the 27th of November 88, and he was an absolute gent. Lovely bloke. And that's me. Yeah, there we are. There's me again with David.
Loving that fashion.
Good God.
Were you a chef?
It was the
oh my God! Look, you can certainly tell he's a Duran Duran fan. I mean,
where was this at the same event, Simon, or another one?
No, that's actually backstage. That's backstage at the after the Ultimate Adventure. When, for anybody, this was really odd. Actually, David Banks did a play after the Ultimate Adventure called Talking to John. You had to pay an extra. I think it was a $5 or something like that. And David Banks had directed it. And it features Stephanie Coleman and what was his name, Wolf, two of the actors from the Ultimate Adventure, and they did this little play that lasted about an hour after the Ultimate Adventure, and so that was after that. Oh God, the fashion, yeah, absolutely. Mullet alert, yeah, all right, okay, we've both got.
Her name was Maria, and she dances in the. What?
That gives you an idea of how small I am and how tall David Banks is.
Yeah. He was a very tall man, wasn't he? When I first met him as a late teen, I couldn't quite get over how tall he was, and that's what I thought. That's why you were cast, because you had to go like,
and he is an absolute charming chap. He's a lovely bloke, and of course, let's not forget he did loads of other work as well. He was a regular in Brookside, in EastEnders. He's done loads of stage plays, done over 100 audio books. He's even, believe it or not, he's even delivered an academic paper about Cybermen for the universities of Sydney and Melbourne. So
really,
geeky David, big geeky, but we're with you. We're proud of you.
We are. So happy birthday to David Banks for yesterday.
Happy birthday, Dave. All the best.
I'd rather take the 80s than this era any day.
A couple of very final ones. Well, this is a big one, actually. This is a big one. Because, believe it or not, Jack Kine would have been 100 this week. Now, who is Jack Kine, you are wondering?
Oh, God, yes.
Jack Kine's there on the right. That's Bernard Wilkie on the left. Jack Kine is on the right. He would have been 100 this week. Basically, for those who don't know, he was the visual effects designer on The Mind Robber, but much, much, much more importantly, he was the guy who, along with Bernard Wilkie on the left, set up the BBC visual effects department in 1954. So we have these two guys to thank for literally having that BBC visual effects department. They did everything from explosions, optical effects, models, costumes, masks. K9, we mentioned K9 earlier. That K9 came from the same department. So we've got Jack to thank for that. And what I love is there on the left-hand side, you can see Jack makes a cameo appearance in Inferno because he's cast as the leader of Inferno. He doesn't say anything. He doesn't appear at all, apart from in this poster. Unity is strength, in this real propaganda Nazi-style poster that appears in Inferno, and that's Jack Kine. So they immortalised him in Inferno. I've always
wondered who that was.
That's who it is.
It's another example of how the BBC worked back then, because everybody knew each other, and because everybody was in house, you would get these little tokens in all sorts of shows and little references. And Morecambe and Wise used to do it occasionally as well in their shows.
They did.
Dan, you are quite right. Yes, you did take that photo of David Banks at the Grand Theatre and Walls. You were behind the camera.
Oh, how fabulous! That is really cool. Hi, Daniel.
Dan took the photo. Anyway, getting back for a second to the visual effects department. By the 1970s, believe it or not, it was the biggest department of its kind anywhere in the world. This makes you realise how far ahead the BBC were, and this is why it's so heartbreaking as to what
you take the piss out of the BBC visual effects achievements on screen.
What was their budget? £20 a week, £20 a month, maybe. I don't know.
It was the biggest department in the whole world. They worked on over 20,000 programmes, finally closing their doors in 2003, just 1 year short of their 50th anniversary. They were closed down by our beloved BBC, who we do love so much. They closed down in 2003.
Idiot.
Now, I don't know about you guys. I sometimes think that visual effects and special effects in Doctor Who are sort of unfairly treated. That people are always making fun of the washing up bottle spaceships and the egg boxes that are turned into walls and all that. I love those old classic effects from the classic series. I have a couple of personal favourites. I'm going to ask you yours. One of my favourites is the model of the Dalek city from the very first Dalek serial.
Oh, beautiful! Yes.
Which in many ways is the very, very first special effect ever really in Doctor Who. They do a few bits and pieces, but really that model is the first special effect.
And so good, Simon, they recreated it in Moffat's era through CGI. Do you remember that thing where Capaldi went back to Skaro?
Oh, is it in there?
Yes.
Is it in there?
Yeah, they redid it. I mean, you can't touch it, can you? That design was beautiful.
And as I say, you've got to remember that was nearly 60 years ago. If you don't know what the model looks like of the Dalek City in the Daleks, just Google it. It's the most it looks a bit dated, but you're right, JT. You can't better. It's beautiful. What about anybody else? Anybody else got any favourite effects from those classic years in particular?
Oh, well, the biggest one was the one that really sort of wowed me was at the beginning of Trial, the space station.
That was. I think that was done by a computer. I think.
Computer stop motion camera, wasn't it? And it's a model. Yeah.
Well, again, you're right, Barnaby. And this is where BBC visual effects were so groundbreaking because they literally designed and created the motion controlled rig that and the computer program that allowed them to film that. This was cutting edge stuff. Yeah, Digby, you're quite right. The ship in the Jagroth ship in the Sand Miner in Robots.
Yeah, classic.
What about the dinosaurs? The dinosaurs.
No, the dinosaurs were outsourced to an independent company.
Yeah, they were.
Was it?
But very much, I mean, Barry Letts thought to give them a try, and the BBC effects department were not happy about this because they said we could have done it better. And you know, when you see it, you think actually you probably would have done it.
You probably could.
Several people watching in the chats coming out with their memories. Vanessa Law says sometimes models are much better.
Yeah,
Vanessa, I disagree. Models are always better than CGI.
Richard Brooks shares your love of the Dalek City. Dalek City is great, as does James A. Fitzpatrick, another big fan of the Dalek City. Digby Strawbridge, yes, he says the classic special effects were wonderful. That Jagroth ship from City of Death and the Sand Miner from the Robots of Death. And Alan Collins mentions the Zygon ship explosion.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what,
the end of the Terror of the Zygons, Barnaby. It makes you gasp, that effect, doesn't it?
It's a great one. Does anyone remember the Vardens? Brilliant effect that was.
Yeah.
It was terrible. It was terrible, that effect. It looked like a coat hanger with some with some sparkly bits on it. We are the Vardens.
That's because it was. That's what it was.
No, it wasn't.
It was. Yeah, it was the end of the series. They had no money. The whole. If you look at Invasion of Time, Barnaby, you can actually see the money had gone. Hence why there's the film. There's no TARDIS rules or anything like that. I mean, it's well known now. That's very much. But there's not much actually.
Yeah, that was just like the BBC basement or something. Inside the TARDIS, yeah.
I think the final word on that has to go to Vanessa Law, who says that nobody does bubble wrap better than Doctor Who. I would agree with that.
And it was green bubble wrap as well.
Yeah,
it was green.
It was. So yes, rest in peace.
Yeah, we truly salute Jack Kine, who would have been 100 this week, because he is one of those. We've talked about this in the past. People that cast a long shadow over the show. That absolutely is Jack Kine. So we do salute you and we thank you for everything. Very, very, very finally this week, just a quick one. This is sadly this week marks 11 years since we lost Jeffrey Bergen, who was the composer of only 2 stories, Terror of the Zygons and The Seeds of Doom. And the only reason he ended up doing those was because Douglas Camfield didn't want to work with Dudley Simpson. I don't think it was anything personal. I just don't think he particularly rated Dudley Simpson's music, or maybe he just wanted a different sound. And he certainly got it in Jeffrey Bergen, because they're quite distinct scores, these, of Terror of the Zygons and The Seeds of Doom. Bergen was a very, very renowned concert composer. He didn't actually do much in the way of film and television. He did compose quite famously the theme for Brideshead Revisited, which, believe it or not, got to number 48 in the charts in 1980.
Beautiful score. Yeah,
and he also did The Life of Brian. He did the score for the Monty Python film The Life of Brian. He did very little film and TV. Most of his work was into the more of the classical concert work. But I'm making Jeffrey Bergen an absolute unsung hero this week, because I love the 2 scores for Zygons and Seeds of Doom. Again, Seeds of Doom we talked about earlier with John Chalice. And in particular, there's just one track called The Secret of Forgill Castle. It only lasts about a minute, but it's the point at which Sarah discovers the sliding door that opens up. I'm getting goosebumps now just thinking.
Me too. It's beautiful.
It slides open, and this beautiful alien corridor is revealed, and the theme that Bergen creates for it is literally giving me goosebumps just thinking of it now. If you don't know it, please track down the track, The Secret of Forgill Castle. It's one of the most beautiful 30 seconds of music ever to grace Doctor Who. So I make him my unsung hero for this week, Jeffrey Bergen.
According to Richard Brooks here, watching on YouTube, he says that he was very talented, and there's a documentary on the Terror of the Zygons DVD.
Okay.
Yes.
I can't remember that. I have to go and look it up. There's a lot of features on there, and over the years you do sort of forget what's what, don't you? But yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was a hell of a contribution across 2 stories that have got their own very unique sound. So I had always wondered about that, and I don't own that album, but I kind of wish I did now. Yeah.
It's a brilliant album, actually.
For the one track, you know it, don't you, JT? You know the track.
I listen to it regular to this day, because I'm with you. Those two scores, and they are different from Dudley's. That's why they stand out. And you noticed even as a small boy the difference in the music. And I totally get what you're saying. I totally agree. Wonderful stuff. If you can find that album, get it.
Yeah, I agree.
Get it while you can, particularly with the diamond logo, as we know everybody relishes that. But yeah, that's it for the diary this time. That feature will be back when we come back. Yeah, the diary will be back, albeit in a slightly rethought way. We're going to have a bit of a tinker and a fiddle. But
I love a tinker and a fiddle.
Thanks, yeah, we've heard. But thanks for that, Simon. Thanks for putting that together.
There we go.
Welcome back to 2020.
I'd rather stay back then, actually. I don't want to go back to 2021.
I just love Ian's sort of completely dry, really.
Whatever. I'm from London, innit?
We don't have fun on this show. Oh, God. Grand Moff Miranda. Hi, Miranda. Making my way through the classic series, one episode.
Where are you up to?
Always a good idea.
Where are you up to, Grand Moff Miranda? Let me know. Where are you up to?
Where are you up to, Charlotte? Where are you up to?
Oh, do you want to know what I watched last week?
Yeah,
I'm in order so much. Terror of the Vervoids.
Of the Vervoids.
That last week.
Kip and Jane Baker.
Poinesium, Mel. Use it.
Oh, actually, that's just reminded me. You know when we talked about the a standard edition of 23 coming out on Blu-ray, and there have been some people upset about the price. Check if you ordered it from Amazon and Zavvi and everywhere else, please, Facebookers, check the prices. It's gone down, and they should be actually adjusting what you've been spending on it, because it's gone down to the usual price. Bit of info there for you. I got the notification a couple of days ago.
Ooh, very good, JT. Very good.
It's gone down to what the standard editions were supposed to be, rather than the price that they were saying, which is. And also, if you're buying the bigger box sets, the collector's edition ones, and you haven't got season 24, get down to Argos right now. It's 20 quid.
That's incredible.
Oh, interesting.
20 quid for an entire season of Doctor Who. Yeah, she's going to get us straight down there. Get the old numbers. I was going to say get the little pen out, but they don't do those anymore. It's all numbers you got to punch in.
Yeah.
I miss the little pen.
My was closed down where I lived. It's closed down now.
Look at
Barnaby doesn't know what a pen is.
What's a pen? Yeah. Is that a new iPad? I don't know.
That's a new iPad for you.
Yeah, that's the way to sell pens to the Gen Z, and that you say it's an iPen.
Maybe everybody, there's an advert for Argos in the customary Type 40 ad break. Yes, it's that time again on the show, one last time, where we go for a tea break. And you, the people who don't need either, or just like a bit of vintage ad glory, stick around for a couple of minutes and get stuck into this little lot. Back in a moment.
You have a rich uncle I don't know about?
No.
An oil well in the garden, perhaps?
No, Dad, look.
So in the absence of these things, you might consider a fallback position?
A what?
I mean a pension.
A pension?
Yes, a pension. This is a very simple thing to find out about. So simple, even you can do it. You go into the Midland Bank, you'll recognise it. It has this big sign on it that says Midland Bank.
Ha ha.
You tell the guy all about yourself. In your case, this will not take too long. He listens to you like you're a very interesting person. He tells you which pension plan works best for you.
Say I don't like the look of any of them.
The point is you do something, and you do it now. I don't want you to end up being a burden to my grandson, okay?
Okay.
Give him here. There you go.
Midland Pensions. For details, call in at your local branch or ring 0800 400 469.
Here's how to remember the Green Cross code. First, find a safe place to cross, then stop. Stand on the pavement near the curb. Look all round for traffic and listen. If traffic is coming, let it pass. When there is no traffic near, walk straight across the road. Keep looking and listening for traffic while you cross.
Stay!
Well, now we'll all remember the Green Cross code. And use it. Splink!
A tenner. Went a long way in Charles Darwin's day. Now, you're lucky if it buys you lunch. Unless, of course, you shop at Farm Foods.
A kilo of chicken breast fillets, a tenderloin of pork, yellowfin sole, frozen at sea cod, half a duck with pancakes, 12 southern fried chicken steaks. Amazingly, any 3 of these for just £10.
Fill up your freezer at Farm Foods.
Right, I'm off to Farm Foods.
Link.
I can't remember a single thing that stands for now. Splink. I can't remember.
Stop.
We were taught that at school, Barnaby. We were taught the Green Cross Code with the with Dave Prowse, who was the Green Cross Code, and then we were taught Splink. And we didn't get John Pertwee coming to us. We got a man dressed as a robot.
Yeah. I remember that.
It was,
As a Western warrior robot. Nice.
No, it was gold.
Dave Prowse, wasn't it? He used to hang around with that gold robot when he was doing the campaign.
That's right. Yeah.
Correctly.
I think so. I think it was all linked, wasn't it? Yeah.
I wondered if any of you had noticed the 2 kids in the advert. Well, the 3 kids, but the 2 little boys in particular in that advert there with John.
I noticed the clothes.
Did you spot who the children were? Any of them look familiar at all?
We're Anton Deck.
Anton Deck. You're close. You're close. Well, one. What's They'd have been fetuses.
Could have been.
Okay, so one of them was Todd Carty, who was Tucker in Grange Hill, and then Mark Fowler on EastEnders for many, many years, and then falling over a lot on reality shows.
I was so close. I got
very close.
Instead of Grange Hill.
But the other little boy, the much smaller little boy, was a young actor that went on to great fame in a program written and created by Stephen Moffat in the late 80s, and then into movies, first acting in movies, and now directing movies. It was Dexter Fletcher, everybody, the director of Rocket Man and Bohemian Rhapsody, and star of various movies and TV shows over the last 30, 40 years, but who made his name
Press Gang.
Press Gang, created by Stephen Moffat, which he starred in with his then girlfriend Julia Sawala, and he was the lovable, tiny little boy in that advert there with Pertwee.
Oh.
Incredible. I'm talking about lovable little guys. We've got Simon Horton back.
Shut up. I don't know what it is. I do apologise. Every time the adverts finish, I just get kicked out. Every time. I think you doing it deliberately, Dan. You just don't want to come back.
You just missed the glory of Splink with John Pertwee and Bradley Walsh advertising Farm Foods.
That should be a Doctor episode. The glory.
I'm taking my tenner. I'm going there, mate. Taking my tenner.
The Splink are attacking.
Right, I've got this thing. Can I show this to Kelly? There it is. Can you
of course.
Let's get that.
Mint in box.
Let's make that.
Oh yes, it's mint in the box. So there you are, Kelly.
I want one.
Lovely.
How do I get that? How do I get one of those?
You can't. It was a limited edition. You'll have to go on the eBay and all that sort of stuff to see if you can find it, because it was limited edition. And of course, it's great because it went with.
I'll go to his house and I'll rob his
place. You can swap.
And there you go. That's what the pops are, Simon. I think you were asking what the pops are. So that's the sort of Sarah. That's the only Sarah, apart from the character option Sarah Jane Adventures things that I bought. But there you go. So Kelly, that's the K9 pop. It's been and gone, but see if you can still find it somewhere. You never know.
eBay. Go eBay. You'll probably find it.
Get a coffee, Grandma from Miranda. That's what I've just done.
People spotting various things in the adverts. The Midland Bank regenerated into the HSBC.
Yeah, it did.
I just remember Midland Bank.
Do you remember the Griffin? Do you remember the Griffin?
Yeah.
The listening bank. That's what they used to call it, didn't they?
It did, yeah. Yep. Not anymore. It doesn't bloody listen anymore. Show me a bank I'll listen to these.
The Darren Zone, now in a zone all of his own.
Hi, Darren Zone.
Don't splink. We've got lots of. In fact, we've got a chat full of absolute splinkers here. Look, check this out.
Splink.
Loads of them. Absolutely
I've
disgusting.
got to
Should
be
be ashamed of
honest, though.
yourselves.
Spacebook splinkers.
I'm not going to lie, though. Does that not sound like a monster that could appear in Series 13?
Yes.
No. Wouldn't know, darling.
Cousin of the Pating.
Well, speaking of series,
the Pating.
cousin
Don't,
of the team.
don't ask it, please don't.
Okay.
Okay, speaking of Series 13, we are here. Obviously, we're gathered here together now
Oh,
at
for
the moment.
God's sake.
But let's let Ian moan and groan before we before I continue
Get it out
moaning.
of your system, Ian. Get it out.
I
of your
know.
Seriously.
Ian's so grumpy.
We are gathered here on Glorious YouTube just for you this evening to enjoy each other's company and to celebrate the close of Season 3 of Type 40 Live. We've been having a blast over the last couple of months.
Why is she pointing it to herself? She looks like Michael Burnham when she was pointing a phaser at herself.
Well, but you've just answered your own question there.
Are they the actual shoes she always wears? Does she always wear those boots?
Yes.
They don't suit her at all, do they?
No.
Stupid.
Okay, quieten down, class. Whilst we've been busy,
Sorry, Sir Hadler.
whilst we've been busy having fun, they have been away in Cardiff and various other places, thinking of ways to make us suffer over a 6 or 7 week period in the not too distant future. For those of you out there who are watching the current era, Series 13, it finishes. Well, that finished filming quite a while ago. They're about to finish filming, as JT mentioned earlier on. They're about to have what they call the golden wrap on Jodie Whittaker's entire time of Doctor Who.
Golden
And
wrap,
filming
more like
is
golden showers.
filming
Rude.
ends this very week on what they're calling the centenary special. You know, we don't get bogged down into the wheres and the why-fors and why they're labelling whatever, but that's what's going on at the moment. Filming is coming to the end, and we have the gormless child herself there.
Oh, look, a picture!
Stood in the doors of the TARDIS, ready to make us all inflict more of some of the worst television you've ever seen in your life coming to a TV screen.
She looks so happy, though. Bless her.
She is.
I'm glad some bugger is.
She's going, isn't she?
Okay,
And,
so
and
that's
that's the truth.
Have to check.
So that's what's going on. Yes, Doctor Who, at some point between now and probably when we come back from our break, Doctor Who will likely be back on screens for those 6 episodes ahead of a few specials to come. Doctor Who itself has been filming in a park. I can't remember the name of the park in Cardiff, Grange Gardens in Grangetown in Cardiff, not far from where my son lives. They've been there filming. You saw Bradley Walsh a moment ago in an advert for Farm Foods. I don't know if he's going to be doing all those again. He's filming The Larkins at the moment for ITV, which is their new remake of The Darling Buds of May. But in between that, he was there too in Grange Gardens, filming on Doctor Who there with John Bishop. So he's obviously back as Graham, whatever his name is. Now, I can't remember either. He only left a few episodes ago, but he's back there for whatever this finale is going to be. Yeah, for the people out there who are interested. I would imagine that Toasting Cole's busy doing other things and he won't be back anytime soon. So that's what's going on.
He's gone back to stage school to learn how to act.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
The pain.
How dare you?
The pain for Jodie Whittaker herself is nearly over. And yeah, those episodes are coming very soon. But there is one item of interest that's popped up on social media. And Chris Chibnall has dialed back, it seems, and brought back Unit. So if some of you may
what a
remember
surprise.
that Chris Chibnall closed down Unit in the New Year's Day special, which aired on New Year's Day, what was it, 2018, whatever that was called. It was pretty forgettable. And he dismissed Unit, disbanded them to make a cheap joke about Brexit, the way that professional writers on family shows do.
And especially the way the BBC do, which is part of the reason that the British public has left them, because not everybody agrees with them.
Exactly. But there's we do have a new Unit logo there, which I thought is more reflective of the early 70s badge sign on the beret. So I do like that.
Yeah, I must be honest, I was never ever sold on that flying wings badge at all that they had. So that's much more. I don't like the badge.
The one in Battlefield?
No, did it start in Battlefield? I know they had it all through the RPG.
It started in Battlefield, and they've been using variations of that ever since. Yeah,
never liked it. So that you're right, Dan. That's much more.
Yeah, it's quite nice, that, isn't it? If you want a pin badge marketed, that's the route to go.
That's the one. Yes, that's one thing he's dialing back on, and obviously, the writing's on the wall for the Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall era of Doctor Who. This has been a colossal failure. We won't go over it too much, but I was, I am going to be watching it because I've got to review it for the podcast. But many of us here will not be, and plenty of us here haven't watched the era at all. But yeah, we'll be covering it somehow on Type 40 as we do over the next couple of months. So stay tuned to the channel and the podcast feeds for all of that. But yeah, I was wondering,
and good luck.
If you guys had seen these pictures, and you've got a couple of pictures here of Mandip Gill and Jodie Whittaker filming.
Oh, is she going right to the very end then? She'll be one of the few companions that have been in fact, she'll be the only companion that's been in every story with a Doctor.
Oh, yeah, very good point.
We don't necessarily know that either, because she may leave I heard that she leaves at the end of these 6. And so she could be back, just like Bradley Walsh is back.
Oh, I see.
Because this is filming of the centenary special.
Or whatever. Do you know what? I think I know what this story is going to be then for her last episode. It's going to involve the Daleks and Davros trying to take over the Earth, and the Doctor has to get all its friends around it. And then it has to go on a thing with Jadoon, and then one of the companions will have to be infected by something and split into 2, and then they'll have to drive the Earth back to where it is. That's going to be the plot in Chibnall's final episode.
Sounds rather familiar.
Very familiar. Oh, well, it's not as if Chibnall's actually, done anything before, is it?
Look at the diverse crew there. Wow, I can see loads of black people and Chinese people. And, yeah, BBC.
This is the thing, isn't it? Because we haven't just got the return of Unit, but as you so rightly said, this Chris Chibnall apparently is bringing back Davros for more indignity on that classic character, and he is bringing back the Daleks. So you joke about it. But Chris record of plagiarism does look like it's going to carry on. So I want to ask you, Barnaby, have you seen anything that's tempting you back to the screen? Because you were with me for that review of Revolution of the Daleks?
Yeah, it was, yes.
You were brave enough to review that with me. We took that hit together. Are you going to be there when this is on, or are you done too? Because I know most people here are.
I'm going to have to be. I'm going to have to power through and see it through to the end, just so I can chat on the podcast with you, I'd say.
I admire your gumption, my friend. I admire your gumption.
Stupidity.
Yeah, obviously.
that too. That too.
Yeah. Chris Chibnall's record of low-level plagiarism. I think it's the same stories with the same beats, barely even remixed into a different order, isn't it, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, we really shouldn't have been that surprised. I mean, that Silurian story he did was basically the Silurians.
Shit.
So,
yeah, good point.
Yeah, we shouldn't have been surprised. But yeah, the man's just a talentless hack, and I will watch the final episode to see I want to know what kills.
Well, we're always discussing, Sarah, that we'll watch it live together, which I'm actually regretting starting to say I'll do now, because I'm sure I've got a wall to watch paint dry on or something. But I think we and the Spacebookers should get together possibly next October, November, when they're going to broadcast it and try and get through it together.
I will watch.
Well, it'll be the last one, won't it?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'll watch that, but that's about it.
What was the last one, please? Somebody tell me.
I can't remember. I didn't watch it.
Was it called Revolution of the Daleks?
Yeah, it was Revolution of the Daleks.
Oh, yeah, I watched 5 minutes of it, and that was it for me. Yeah,
Sincerely, it left that little impression on me, Charlotte. I genuinely can't remember what it was called. How about you? Where were you with it?
Oh no, well, I didn't watch it, but do you know in the pictures of Jodie, a few people picked up on this. Look at her shirt. They've actually changed the cut. It's usually she has like a collar, doesn't she? It cuts off here, but it's actually a t-shirt. So a few people have said, "Oh, that could suit a male doctor, couldn't it?"
No, it's not. I don't think it's going to be anything to do that. I mean, if they were going to do a handover, we'd know now. We would know now, because you can't keep that. I think they're just going to keep it open from because they finished this week. So there isn't going to be a traditional handover, as Dana said earlier. It's not going to go like it could be. This might sound very silly, Charlotte, but in certain cases you have stunt clothes. I know that's a very bizarre term, but depending on the script or depending on what the action's going, if they've got an expensive costume and somebody's got to be grabbed or something like that, they will put a cheaper version of that in, or if you've got to be pushed in mud, you will be given a cheaper version of the costume. Because sometimes you will ruin it. So it could be a stunt costume, as we used to call them.
Richard Brooks in the chat earlier on made me realise I now realise, of course, why Jodie is smiling, and it's because she's just earned £250,000 of your money. Whoever is paying the license?
Not mine.
She's earned £250,000 of your money for playing this role.
That's disgraceful. I mean, that's the same as her predecessors got, and they did more work. You're talking about equality? That's not equality. If that's true, that's wrong.
She's happy. She's so happy to leave.
Simon, sorry, not Simon. JT. God, I'm a bit not with it. She made a whole song and dance about the pay before she
I remember
started. She made a whole song and dance about it, so she's got what she's wanted.
I am right, aren't I? It is £250,000. That's it was announced at the time, wasn't it? That's how much she was getting, the same as Capaldi. I'm not wrong on that.
Well, they made a big fuss of the fact that she was on exactly the same as her predecessor.
But that's what I'm saying. But it is.
I can't remember the figure. I can't remember.
Okay.
What's this? Garbage is sick.
Thank you to the people out there on YouTube watching, jogging my poor memory. Revolution was 2020. Resolution was 2021.
No, Revolution was 2021.
Oh my God! So these are both Dalek stories. Why? I mean, how stupid? There's another element, a bit of stupidity. Why give them very similar names? Are they linked in any way? I mean, what? I don't get it.
They are kind of semi-linked, but no. Resolution was 2020. Revolution was 2021. But they just sound so similar. Everyone just getting so confused with which one is new.
I'm
I can't
very,
even
very
remember
easily confused. We've done 18 of these shows on the trot nearly. I'm very confused at this point. Daniel Edwards chips in and says Resolution isn't as bad as Series 12. You know he's probably right, but that's like saying that catching your cock in your fly isn't as bad as catching your balls. So I don't really
I wouldn't know, guys, but
welcome back, Starry.
BBC
I disagree with that, Blue Planet.
Blue Planet. The future for Doctor Who is bleak. I'm with you, JT. I think the future. Look, a future with Doctor Who off screen for a little while is rosy.
It's brilliant.
It's been for the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
So I no nothing against you, Blue Planet. I understand why you are where you are at. But I have to agree with JT there.
One of the things, Blue Planet, as well, that we're trying to look at now is there is hope out there. There is optimism with this. This is great news that the show's coming off air, because it means that there's a course correction coming and that studios are aware with the behind-the-scenes stuff that will now come out. And we've got to stay with it and stay with us, because we're going to have a laugh all the way through next year. We're gonna keep up to date with what's going on. We're going to bring you all the gossip that we all hear from people that we know around the know. Stay with us, because we're going to have a laugh. Don't worry too much about it. The future is good.
It really will get better. I guarantee it's going to get better.
Just hope it's a guy.
Of course it's going to be.
Has been.
I hope so.
Being able to talk about it with you lot, it's just I've had so much fun.
Stop that, JT. Stop it.
I just love tickling Starry there. Look at it.
It has been fun, hasn't it? So yeah, for the people out there who are interested, we haven't got a transmission time or date yet for Series 13 of what they insist is Doctor Who. It is coming before the end of this year. Just those 6 weeks of new episodes and then a special, probably on New Year's Day. So
you could sort of guess, to be honest, couldn't you? Because there's only 6 episodes. You can sort of guess the end of October, because they won't want it to go too far into December, because Christmas, the laughable Christmas scheduling takes over on the BBC then. So you can sort of guess that. Count 6 Sundays into the beginning of December at least, and there's it going.
What I wanted to say is that whether you Doctor Who fans out there, whether you decide that you're out and you're not watching it anymore, but you're still a Doctor Who fan, we understand, because plenty of us feel exactly the same way. But by the same measure, I also understand, I think most of us understand, that compulsion, even though you are disliking, maybe even hating every minute of it, that need to be there and watch. I do understand that. And we'll be there for you too here on the show, ready to cheer you up whenever you hit play on a Type 40 or a Type 40 live video or podcast to have a few laughs with our mates and with you watching and listening out there. That's what we do this for. That's what we're here for.
And don't forget, if you're feeling really down, you can phone myself at 555 EASY, and we'll have a laugh.
Oh God!
But not necessarily about Doctor Who.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, people up here are they're anticipating the blowing up.
Sorry, Dan, can I ask you a question?
Yes, of course.
Do you think that they're not going to, when Jodie regenerates, they're not going to have something horrible happen to her? She's not going to get shot or something, or do you know what I mean? Because she's a woman and the BBC don't like women suffering too much. Do you think that's going to happen, guys? Seriously,
Yes,
I'm asking.
I think it's going to be a kind of a very sort of painful for the viewers and esoteric departure. I don't think we're going to see a full regeneration. We may not even see a regeneration at all.
I don't think we're seeing any. I think we'll just see her go from the sunset like Sylv did.
Yeah, I agree.
You're right.
I think it'll be
What
like
I
that.
really want to see is, I want to see him return to them cranes that are near me, and I want Graham to push her off and say, "That's my Grace."
Oh, you're so violent, Starry. Oh, you're so butch.
Just want to clarify.
Grace would have still been alive.
I just need to clarify. I just need to clarify for the people who are watching. Oh God, the chat's jumped. Okay, I just need to clarify for the people who are watching. Digby Strawbridge says thanks for putting the show on, Dan. Thank you for the lovely people on the panel, and thank you wise folk in the chat. Daniel Edwards asks explicitly, so you guys will be reviewing each episode of Series 13?
No.
Daniel,
Dan and Barnaby will be reviewing them.
Not watching it.
And I'll be watching as well for my sins.
Well, there you go. Charlotte, Dan, and Barnaby will be with you through 6 painful weeks, and you can all hold hands together.
Okay, let me explain. Yes, because Type 40 and Type 40 Live, we put podcasts and live streams out. So whilst the coverage of Series 13, if we're back doing live streams at that point, we'll keep an eye on the general news, certainly on the merchandise and the destiny of Doctor Who. If any announcements about its long-term future come in that time, we'll cover those. But no, here on Type 40 Live, we won't be reviewing those episodes simply because the majority of us don't watch it. But if you stay tuned, if you subscribe to the Type 40 podcast, which is available on all podcatchers, and I mean all of them. It's over on where are we? I've got a list here. The Type 40 podcast is available on Apple,
Bloody everything,
Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, pretty much everywhere that you get your podcasts. You can find Type 40 itself, and there'll be video tracks whenever we can put them together here on the Spacebooks YouTube channel too. So this is all new content and new things, new ways that we're trying to innovate here with the Type 40 brand to get you as much content as possible and the conversations that you want to hear. Obviously, I can't force people to watch something, but there are certain people. Sadly, Barnaby, he has already volunteered, but that's a legally binding contract, everybody. And I'll be speaking to Charlotte later on as well. See if I can barter with her. But we have a team of people. We have a few plucky people as well who work with me on the podcast, recurring voices who are happy to come in and talk. And people who even like the Jodie Whittaker era. So if you're watching or listening to this video, this podcast, and thinking, "Oh God, they're bashing the era again," I do try and bring people onto the podcast who have different opinions, because unlike some people out there in the Doctor Who universe, here at Type 40, we're not allergic to other opinions. We're genuinely interested in the entire fan experience and any opinion that you may have. That's a very long answer to a very simple question, but I just wanted to clarify about that.
Certainly was.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Let's check in and see what else is going on in the chat. Yeah, it's a reasonable question, because I know that a lot of people, we're getting new subscribers by the week, and the comment section is full of people asking about the news, about the new series, and about what's going on. So I thought I had to address that pretty full on. We've got a picture here of Peter Capaldi's wonderful 12th Doctor taking time out and walking away from Gallifrey as we're walking away for a little while.
Just like many of us fans did in the last few years.
Symbolic,
It is, isn't it, Clary? Yeah.
And we're gonna sign off the way that we always sign off here at Type 40 Live, by looking at some pretty pictures, everybody.
Yeah. Pretty pictures.
Specifically, I thought we'd check in with what the Pridonian's up to. back to Destiny.
That's great.
Destiny!
Back to Destiny of the Daleks here, everybody. I mean, I think this is just glorious. Everything that comes off this guy's Twitter account is absolutely beautiful. If you haven't followed him yet, why not?
Lovely.
That's phenomenal. Because we were talking about Destiny earlier as well, that is wonderful to see that Destiny Dalek. Gee, his work really... Look, I can see he's even given the little pegs out the top of those. That
the
little three,
which
is
lovely.
quite correct.
Beautiful stuff. And something else I've seen from the Pridonian too is this lovely homage to the Weetabix.
I remember them. I remember them. I've got them.
That's a beautiful Dalek.
That is,
it is.
I love that
that's
colour
completely
scheme.
correct. That is as it appears in the Weetabix advert, and of course that was one of Terry Nation's own personal Daleks that was used for the filming.
And again, these Daleks, I mean, a few issues back, again, if you didn't see the shows, please go back and rewatch the series. We were talking about the possibility of a Dalek series. And if Canal Studios are out there, make it happen, because they actually have the rights to those Daleks. They have the rights to the film Daleks. So they wouldn't have to involve they wouldn't have to involve the BBC. So, you know... Yeah, I mean, look at those.
Absolutely fascinating. Well, because there are slight design differences, but not quite 25% here. But not far.
Canal Studios own the rights to the movie Daleks and the Cushing movings. So there you have it. All you have to do is clear it with the Nation Estate for them. So please, Canal, we love you.
Look how beautiful those Daleks. That beautiful. How that Dalek look, and look at what Chibnall done to the Daleks. It's just incredible.
Don't start me.
Just incredible.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, let's have one last look at those. That's absolutely
lovely.
Absolutely
beauty.
I really want to eat some Weetabix now as well. That's the power advertising.
Oh, you're gonna have, you're gonna have chocolate. I'll tell you something, Sarah. You won't know this, Charlotte Barnaby. You won't know this, but the Weetabix have shrunk. When I was a kid, they were massive, and now they're little teeny weeny things.
To answer
JT, are you sure?
Just popped up there. I've never seen the Dalek. Where does it come from? For anybody that doesn't know, basically that is it's a genuine. It was a Terry Nation Dalek that was painted red and black. It was also, I think, I'm right in saying, it was used as the chief Dalek in Planet of the Daleks as well, with some modifications. But it was
that middle one there. Can you see the middle one? There he is.
But it was that's the one. That's the one. That's how he appeared in Planet of the Daleks. But he was painted red and black for Terry Nation, and he got used in a Weetabix advert. Weetabix, maybe anybody who's not English and British, I apologise, JT, doesn't know what Weetabix is. Weetabix is a breakfast cereal. And so that's an advert from about 1967. Actually, that would have been an advert.
Yeah.
Look at it on YouTube. It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Or you can go back and watch when we started doing the adverts, because we featured it in the show. Go back and watch the episode. Absolutely.
Seamless link there, JT.
I'm very good at this, aren't I?
Not Brian Young
makes you
watching
poo.
on YouTube says it looks a bit like a Smash robot, Ian. That's a Smash robot, Ian.
Get smashed. Yeah, the Smash robots were the Doctor Who aliens we never had.
We love the Smash robots.
We bend their metal knives.
Thank you, not Brian Young for
love
the Smash.
Yeah, we love it. We love
the Pridonian's work, and nobody loves his work more than we do. And yes, I have asked him on the show a couple of times. He says he's far too shy to come onto a podcast or a live stream. He's very flattered by the fact we feature his work, so he claims. But he won't be coming on. So, show your love for the Pridonian and just find him on Twitter. Tell him that we sent you by all means. But go follow him, and because there is so much work, so many beautiful images come out of that guy's Mac that we can't keep up. We can't cover them all, but it's just wonderful.
He works so hard. He churns them out so much. Every day there's something else. I mean, what a guy.
He does. Right, I'm going to stay with Daleks for the last pretty picture. This comes from David Ladkin and ties in perfectly with the forthcoming release in a couple of days' time. In fact, I think some lucky people have already got it. It's the Evil of the Daleks Blu-ray that's coming.
Oh, yeah.
The animated version. This is David Ladkin's take on the evil Daleks themselves. And I thought this, it's slightly different, obviously, to the work the Pridonian does. It's a bit more grimy, obviously, and it's more authentically 60s Barnaby. But it does seem right and real in colour, doesn't it?
Oh, it looks lovely. Do not fight in here. Yeah,
Brilliant.
that was a terrible impression, but
No, it's good.
I love
it's
that. I love that scene, that particular scene where they're all like,
I agree.
It'll do. I mean, I like the fact that he's got like the black dome there, and just the
because that's what they had. Yeah, lovely.
I love how chunky they are. Daleks are meant to be like that.
But even the TARDIS looks great because it looks grubby as the TARDIS did.
Yeah.
For a long, long time, very good.
Sarah, you're right. In many ways, those just are. That's how a Dalek should look. Those are just absolute classic Daleks. Really, how can you mess up a design classic so badly in recent years? That's it. As you say, Sarah, that's the Dalek. That's how they should look. Simple as that.
Absolutely.
Not rocket science.
I was well impressed with that. And I know we've been a bit Dalek heavy there on the pretty pictures this time, but if the pretty pictures are all pretty Daleks, then what can you do?
Can I stay with Daleks before we sign off? And actually, can I just thank, in a blatant plug, can I thank Character Options? And please come on the show and talk to us, because the Dalek sets that have just arrived in B&M are absolutely delicious. There's that Dalek. I mean, look at that. I mean, that. Oh,
which episode are those from?
Well, that's the Day of the Daleks. That one.
Day of the Daleks one. Lovely.
Yeah. That's great. And there's more coming. There's another set coming. We've got more coming out. And I'm so impressed with the Ian Chesterton one and every. I mean, for those of us that are collecting them, they're gorgeous. So Character Options, fantastic stuff, and we're so grateful. And I can't wait. Can't wait for next month when the next set is due to arrive into B&M, because it's going to be fabulous.
They are doing incredible work. And one more thing I wanted to sort of signpost in case people haven't seen is it's not quite a pretty picture, but she's a lovely lady. So I wanted to mention the fact that Wendy Padbury is launching a brand new website really, really soon. And she's offering an exclusive calendar and a photo book, postcards, and all those things, and sign. She'll sign everything for us. Basically, the lovely Wendy Padbury played Zoe Herriot on Doctor Who back in the late 60s. So she's launching this new website, but she wants people to get in touch through social media, through Twitter, and let her and her management know what you would like to see on her website. So go over to Twitter if you are on there, and hit them up and give them their suggestions. They're literally harvesting ideas from the Whooniverse.
I dare say a lot of people would just like to see a photograph of Wendy Padbury clutching onto the TARDIS console from taken to the reverse.
I have to say, I'm a man of simple taste, Wendy, and that will sort me out. But
still looks good, though, doesn't she? Still looks good.
She looks great. Yeah, I like the logo there as well. I mean,
the diamond.
I'm quite interested in getting the calendar to see me through next year, actually, because she's a lovely woman. Very good. Okay. Yeah, I might have to pop a check through.
Good on you, Wendy. I like the fact that all our Doctor Who personalities do that, Ian. They kind of build their own brand as well, don't they?
They do, and she I think, am I right in saying that she was like the Diana Rigg of Doctor Who? Wasn't she?
Sort of. Yeah, only because she wore a cat suit. She didn't go around judo chopping everybody.
No, she didn't. But she was tough, though. Put it that way. But
well, she was a clever one. Her character, wasn't she? Zoe was a clever one.
She gave the carcass a good iodine, didn't she?
Yeah, she did.
If I remember rightly. Yeah. So that is our final live stream of this season, all wrapped up in a nice bow for you all. We're taking a little while to let's get the picture back up. Yes, we're taking a little while, going for a little stroll, and we're back in a few weeks' time with more Type 40 Live. Going to give things a bit of a respray and a rethink, because we do like to continually think of ways to make this show better every time we bring it back. But we're delighted that you seem to be enjoying the show as much as we do. We've got lots of people talking about the land of fiction, and I think that thoughts of Wendy Padbury on the console there has brought back a lot of fond memories for people. But before we go, one more reminder that if you are going to miss us, there are, where are they? There are lots of other episodes of Type 40 Live. Yeah, this is what you've got to look for. There's a whole playlist full of all our live streams here on the Spacebook channel for you to play back. So, yeah, you can still talk back to us. It's just that we won't be able to hear you or reply. But by all means, go back to the videos and leave us a comment and let us know what you think of it all in the comment section or over at our social media. Check out the very latest episode of the Type 40 podcast. That's also here on the channel or out there on the podcatcher of your choice, as I was saying earlier on, or at type40.podbean.com, which is our very own home feed. You can find all the episodes of Type 40 over there for your listening pleasure.
Can I just say, Blue Planet in the chat has asked a question, and I'm going to find you the answer for next time. So you've got to come back after the break, and I will, after our little mid-season break, and I will have the answer for you, Blue Planet. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah. So how many episodes is it before Jodie Whittaker leaves Doctor Who then, Tom? Good man. Not that we're counting. And have you got any last messages for Jodie before she leaves, Chris? Fair play. Yeah. Look, thank you. Thanks to Sarah, to Barnaby, to Ian, to JT, to Charlotte, and to Simon, and to everybody who's been on the show over the last 18 weeks. I had a blast doing this. It's in fact, every series. This is the third series that we've done in the last year. Like I say, Type 40 Live kind of happened by accident, and we're trying to build it up and to make it better every single time, because other people may come along and they may be trying to do this too. But I personally know that nobody does it better, and you won't get this level of banter, this level of conversation, this eclectic array of Doctor Who content, and more to the point, when we tell you about news and rumours, we've got a hit rate that's better than anybody's on YouTube at the present time. So make sure you come back for more of that later on in the year. But that does wrap us up for now. Any last words, Ian?
No. Don't watch Jodie. Don't watch Jodie.
Oh, that's as good as anything.
The moment has gone.
Can I just do a quick? Can I just do a quick plug before we go down this?
Oh, here we go.
Well, if you're not already sick of us, you can see Charlotte and myself doing a little bit of voice acting.
Bad acting. Sorry, I'm joking. Go on.
Amateur acting. On Sunday at I think it's 11 o'clock Pacific time. I'm not very good at time.
Don't miss that bit. They can find out themselves. It gets complicated. Just don't do that bit.
It's 4 p.m. UK time.
It's a lot of fun.
That is. That's well done.
We are doing the David Tennant story, Rise of the Cybermen and Age of Steel. And I am playing Rose Tyler this time.
Oh, dear. Okay.
And dear Charlotte is going to be a variety of characters. She's becoming the Sean Bean of the script doctors.
Yeah, I die a lot.
Oh, bless. Yeah.
So please check that out.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Well, I've got a plug as well. Can I have a plug? Yeah. If you're not doing anything on Saturday nights, www.aliveradio.net. Join me for Glitterball Fever every Saturday night between 8 o'clock and 10 UK time. That's my new radio show, which show 3 is this week. Aliveradio.net.
Well done, JT. Well done.
Wonderful stuff. Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, I was listening to it as I was doing the washing up or something like that. It made me want to go out clubbing and blow a whistle and bang a tambourine or whatever else.
I was wondering then for a minute, viewers, what he was going to say.
Yes.
Stony ground.
So
join me for Glitterball Fever.
Yeah. And keep your eyes peeled. Please like the video. I know I've had a few comments there. Please like the video, even if you're Chris Chibnall. I don't care what Chris Chibnall says. Please like the video.
Nobody cares what Chris Chibnall thinks. You are gone. You are out of here.
Because we will be back soon. Yeah, subscribe to the channel and hit the cluster bell so you get the notifications and share us along. Share
Comment
the videos out there. The more the merrier. We'll be back in a few weeks' time. And as the good man just said, drop us a comment and a question. And
send us questions. We want questions.
We come back because it'll just be
pop them on a postcard.
A few weeks' time. And when we come back in a few weeks' time, we'll be with you right the way till Christmas to see you through as the nights get colder. Thanks.
Yeah, and that means the Christmas hats are coming out again. Watch last year's Christmas show and you'll see exactly what we need. You can find it on the Facebook. Go right back to last year.
More of that. But yeah, that is it for now. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back again soon. But that's a wrap on season 3. Good night or good morning.
Hi, Facebookers.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching. Good night. Bye-bye.